going to go ahead and reconvene at 6:30. Dr. Villegas, roll call of the administrative cabinet.
Absolutely. Gisela Castañón, Dean Cochran, Dora Soto Delgado, and Joconda Padilla. And Ms. Jasmine is away today, and Mr. Matthews is also not going to be here at open session.
Thank you. And for Pledge of Allegiance, I'm going to go ahead and ask Trustee LaFarga to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic that one nation, God, indivisible, liberty, all.
Thank you, Vice President LaFarga. Moving on to item 6, adoption of the agenda. Approve the agenda for the regular Board of Education meeting June 17th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
We do have some amendments that need to be made.
Yes.
To the agenda. So, Ms. Joconda, have some amendments to the agenda.
I can go ahead with one.
Okay, yeah, Mr. Cochran, you can go first.
Human Services item, resources item, 17F3, 2.G. Please pull that item.
Was that the only one, Mr. Cochran?
I'm next.
Yes.
Agenda item amendments, 12.B, replace attachment. 14B, replace attachment. 17.E.1, replace attachment.
Actually, is there any others?
That's all.
So we're going to take a vote to approve the agenda of regular Board of Education meeting for June 17th as amended.
Motion?
There was,
Oh, well, he motioned, I second earlier, but not as amended.
oh,
So motioning as amended.
excellent. Second, okay. So as amended by Trustee Saavedra and second by Trustee Mejia. Trustee Perez,
Yes.
Trustee Mejia,
Yes.
Trustee Saavedra, Trustee LaFarga,
Yes.
and myself, yes. And report of actions taken in closed session?
Yes, thank you. So we have just a few reports, and we will be returning to closed session after our open session meeting today. But we convened into closed session with closed session discussions commencing at 5:10 p.m. The following persons were present: President John Contreras, Vice President Hector Lafarga, Clerk Christine Saavedra, members Esther Mejia and Arlene Perez, Ms. Rodriguez Padilla, Mr. Matthews, Legal Counsel, Ms. Copado, Special Counsel Anthony Pizarro, and myself were at the beginning of closed session. We discussed the closed session agenda item out of order by discussing item 4E first. As to item E, members of the board were provided with a briefing and update on special counsel, by special counsel, Mr. Pizarro. By majority consensus, with Ms. Mejia dissenting, the board gave authorization and direction to Mr. Pizarro. Mr. Pizarro exited a closed session at 5:31 p.m. As to item C, legal counsel Joey Sanchez joined closed session telephonically at 5:34 p.m. Members of the board were provided with a briefing and update. By majority consensus, direction was provided to legal counsel and members of the cabinet. Mr. Sanchez exited closed session at 6:12 p.m. The remainder of the closed session agenda items will be discussed after the open session items on the agenda.
Thank you. And now to the favorite part, awards and recognitions. Recognition of Rancho High School student athletes from spring 2025 season.
All right, so hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm so happy to see you. This is really by far the funnest part of our board meetings is when we get to spend a little time recognizing our wonderful students and really coaches and teachers as well. but we're really, really proud of the work that you do and how important athletics is. You know how you learn so much through the value of athletics and being dedicated and being part of a team and just working together and so much good. So many things you learn that really make an impact on your future. So we are really, really proud. So even before we get started, can we give all our athletes a big round of applause, please? And as customary, Dr. Goyanaga, you're gonna be able to share with us a little bit on these athletes.
I know. The train's brain.
There we go. All right. Good afternoon, board and district cabinet. Thank you for taking time during the summer to honor some of our spring athletes. With all the craziness that's happening around us, even in our own community, I'm glad that we're still able to stop and recognize the efforts of our kids. Because even in moments like this, I feel like they're the only ones that can make things better going forward. And although their work has come and gone this year, I still very important that we honor them. So thank you for this opportunity. Like everything else that's happening around, we didn't get our certificates in order today, but that's okay. We're gonna find a way to give them out to the kids in the right way. So parents, I apologize for that. We'll correct that. But the biggest thing is that you guys are here, and I'm deeply appreciative of that. And I'm very proud to be a member of this community and to be an AD at school. And for these kids, it really means a whole lot to me. And a lot of times we get caught up in the day-to-day of our busy lives and our busy schedules. But you guys are really what matters the most. I know some of you guys have already graduated. But you've already left your mark here. So now the challenge is for you to go on and leave your mark elsewhere, wherever that may be. So I'm really proud that you guys are here. In focusing on our spring sports, they always get the short end of the stick in terms of their CIF competitions, in terms of when their playoffs happen, in terms of even when awards are being passed out, it's always at the end of the school year. So they're competing with prom, graduation, grad night, and a lot of times we're here in the summer recognizing their accolades during the season. The sports that compete in the spring are baseball. We have softball. We have boys and girls track, boys and girls swimming, boys tennis, boys golf, and we're also honoring our song team today and our boys volleyball team as well. Did I forget anyone else? Can we give them a round of applause? Thank you. And what I'll do, guys, since we're still working on the certificates, I'll just call you guys up as a group, and then we can kind of coordinate those certificates after. I know we wanted them for the pictures, but at least we can take a group picture with each team. So we have scholar athletes. So these were athletes who, during season, they maintained a 3.0. And this is a special recognition because a lot of times our kiddos are above a 3.0 overall for their whole career, like high school season. But this award in specific is for students who maintain it during their actual season of play, right? So I do want to highlight that. And then we also have athletes who received distinction in their league. So these were first team all league athletes who were recognized by their coaches. So we'll start off with, if you're here representing baseball, can you stand up, please? And then why don't you guys come up and we're going to take some pictures of you guys. You guys can make your way up there, guys.
I think
And parents, if you would like to come and take pictures of the students, feel free. Parents, don't be shy. If you'd like to come up and take pictures, please step up because we're gonna do it for the other group. So you might as well get it in. Go for it. Thank you. Do we have boys golf here by any chance? Is boys golf here today? Okay, there was only a few of them, so they are also one of our spring sports. So we'll move on. We can go on to boys tennis. Do we have boys tennis here today? There we go, Javi. Come on up. They're coached by Coach Lipstrew. I know she's back here. Thank you, Coach, for coming during your summertime. Much appreciated. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, guys. Okay, up next, I'm gonna ask our boys volleyball team to come up. Before they do, they were only our second team this year to win a league title. So they were our 2025 Del Rio League champions. And aside from that, they were actually back-to-back champions. So this was a repeat for them. So let's give it up for them. Go ahead. Okay. Parents, if you'd like to come up and take pictures, please don't be shy. Hey, thank you. Congratulations. It is, huh? Yeah. That's what I want to. Yeah. All right, cool. Okay, I'll get it to you right now. Don't worry. Okay, up next, I'm gonna ask our boys and girls track team. Are you guys here today, boys and girls track? Do we have any athletes? Mr. Aguirre? Anyone else? Hey, you're the rep then. Go ahead. Boys and girls swim? Boys and girls swim? Any representatives? Okay, we can do softball next. Any of our softball girls? Come on up, girls, don't be shy. Our softball girls were actually one of our two teams that made the playoffs in the spring. So they were able to go to our first round of Division 3 playoffs. And we're third place in the Del Rio League this year. Yeah, we have two more groups that we're going to recognize. Up next is our song team. Let's give it up for our song team. Don't be shy, parents, go for it. Coach Lipshrew also helps coach at the song team, and Coach Irene Vargas. So, and our song team made nationals this year as well. Get in there, coach. Say that again? Yes, Ms. Vargas and Ms. Lipshrew. And before I recognize our athletes, so if you're an athlete who received a first team all league distinction, I'm going to call you up in a second here. We did have other members of our boys volleyball team who was a part of that league championship team just arrived. They were playing some games. Would it be okay if we take another picture with them as a whole group? All right, guys, let's do round 2 for the boys volleyball team. And last but not least, if you were an athlete who received first team recognition, please go ahead and make your way up at this time. And this can be across our different sports. Go for it, guys. Parents, please come and take pictures if you haven't. Board, it's all yours now. Thank you so much. Can we give it up for our sports one last time? Thank you.
I'm gonna allow the board, if they have any comments, I'm gonna go down the line as to say any comments, should we have any, just because Dr. Goyanaga stated it properly. I mean, it's after school is done, it's summertime, it's hot, there's a lot of stuff going on. You guys still made an effort to come here, and that means a lot. So I'm gonna start with Trustee Perez.
Yeah, I think echoing what Mr. Contreras just said, the fact that you guys are here, I know it's hot, you could be at home, you're on break already. So, but thank you for taking the time. You deserve this recognition, balancing any extracurricular activity plus your grades, plus achieving, it's huge. So thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep representing our Rancho. We can't wait to see what's next.
It's hot, so I'll keep it short. You guys are awesome. High fives and hugs from me to all of you and to your parents, supporters that are here.
For those moving on to a college or a university, or moving on to further their education, can you guys just please stand up? I know you guys are not all seniors that were recognized, but there's the seniors that are moving on. So we're very proud of you guys. I know, some of you, LMU, obviously, Mr. David, Mr. Aguirre, ELAC for Mr. Alex over here. And for the rest of you guys, we're very proud of what you guys have done. I've always advocated for student athletes, myself being a student athlete, graduating from here, moving on to college, and then eventually a university. I took the path that you guys are taking. I'm very proud of you, and I know that people sitting here as well on the board, trustees, did so as well. So we are all very proud of you. Our valedictorian this year was a student athlete as well, so that says a lot. To put in the extra hours, the extra effort, what you guys did was amazing. I would have loved to have had our awesome facilities for you guys made available. Towards the end we had a little bit, right? And also it's an attestament to the ones around you, to your parents. So make sure you guys give them a little extra hug, a little thank you. Just tell them thanks for what they've done, what they're doing. Mr. Aguirre, we still have you for another 3 years, so I can't wait to see what Daniel brings. Once he joins our baseball team again, and right. No, I try. No, but I can't wait to see what you do on the track. You're already breaking records. You're already, people are already looking at you, right? As a freshman, and people are already looking at you. So awesome. Our softball team, our song, Our volleyball team, I was able to make it out to a couple of the games out there, and you guys were amazing. The grid, Miss Picon, you did an awesome job. Thank you for what you do out there with our boys and our girls. And our golf, let's not forget our golf. I know we only have one rep, but he did show up strong. I just took it up not too long ago, and I love it, and I wish you nothing but the best. It's a great game. You got to hit an even smaller ball in a you got to land in a certain place. So they say baseball is hard, golf is up there as well. So congratulations to each and every one of you, and congratulations again to all the parents that made the time and the effort to be here. So thank you very much. Trustee LaFarga?
Yes, echoing the same sentiments, just congratulations on your accomplishments as athletes and in the classroom. For our seniors who just graduated now, freshmen and hopefully in college soon, or whatever path you're pursuing. This is really just the beginning in your journey of life, and keep excelling on everything that you do. We're very proud of you. I'm sure your coaches are very proud of you. And for those that are still with us, let's just keep aiming high and shooting for the stars. We're all very proud, and thank you for making El Rancho Unified proud.
Trustee Mejia?
Congratulations. We're so incredibly proud of you. As Dr. Goyanaga said, right now these are trying times for us, but you bring us joy. You are our hope, and we're just so glad to be able to celebrate you today. Thank you for coming out today. Congratulations.
And where's Dr. Goyanaga? Can you please come up front, Dr. Goyanaga? I know these have been really, really trying times, especially for you with having to schedule and do for the past 2 years, the switching and the complaints, from the parents, myself being one as well. And I just want to say thank you. You showed today that you really cared for your student athletes, and you showed today that this is the reason why we do it. So thank you very much. And can we give Dr. Goyanaga an applause as well? Thank you once again. Okay, so I'm gonna do a 5-minute break so that if you guys want to take family pictures and snap some photos, we're gonna break for 5 minutes and allow you guys to do that if you guys would like. So we'll take a 5-minute recess. Test. We're gonna go ahead and get back started. If we can go ahead and take our seats. Thank you. I think I took yours. I think so. Good? All right. Okay. So moving forward, we can go on to item 9, public comments, items on the agenda, blue comment cards.
We do not have any blue comment cards today.
Thank you. And moving on to item 10, public comments, items on the agenda, items not on the agenda, yellow comment cards.
We do have one, Fernando Islas.
To start off, I want to thank the El Rancho School Police and the district for springing into action earlier while was at Salazar. I still miss Carrillo, but Gomez is all right. Solo el pueblo salva el pueblo. I came here today because the targeting of my child and my family continues. Your assistant principal over at STEAM, Ms. Fisher, has just violated my child's FERPA, Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Just last month, we had a scheduled meeting with my child's college professor for one of the Rio Hondo courses offered here at the district. Before the meeting began, we had to get permission from our underage child for the professor to be able to disclose what was happening in that class. Just to give you an idea of how serious this matter is. Not even their own parents were able to get this information without their permission. The room was evacuated and was completely empty before we began this meeting. A few minutes into the meeting, the door cracks. Ms. Fisher pokes her head in and asks if everything was okay. The college professor affirmed it was, and the meeting continued. However, Ms. Fisher never closed the door fully. She left it cracked. That's how we knew she was standing by the door, eavesdropping. And when we reported it to you, once again, you denied any wrongdoing. We told you she violated our child's FIPA, and you guys denied it. Even though you guys had footage of her doing so. We had to records request that footage to confirm she did. You guys sent us a sped up 2-minute and 50-second video where you can see her standing by the door virtually the whole time. She is also seen on her phone, walks over to the corner of the building a few times to make phone calls, but continues to return. If you remember, we reported to you that at the beginning of my child's middle school career, she threatened to remove her from ASB and snapped her finger. Fast forward, after my kid was attacked by the student who we had to get a restraining order on, and I told her to take care of my baby, and she replies with, "We'll see what the investigation says," all while changing her face and demeanor with me. She went from "Good afternoon, Mr. Islas," to "We'll see what the investigation says." Now she has committed a serious act and violated my child's FIPA rights, all because you guys refused to do anything about the higher up at that school. What are we going to do about this? Are you guys ready to go to the negotiating table finally, or do I have to have a lawyer get you there? Part of the problem here was Ms. Fisher and Ms. Kim have been allowed to run ASB over at STEAM like it's their own personal club, weaponizing it against students for their own sick personal pleasure, which reminds me, heard they no longer allow 6th graders to join ASB. Instead of getting their act together, they'd rather change policies so they can try to continue to act in the manner they have. Sounds all too familiar. Shame on you for trying to hide what Ms. Fisher did. We record requested her messages and call logs, and all we got was a 2-minute and 50-second video. I'm extremely confident, however, that this video alone proves that she violated FIPA. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Islas.
And that's the only public comment we have.
Thank you. So we're gonna move on to item number 11, Labor Association reports.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, board, Mr. Superintendent, Cabinet, and the community. My name is Alex Acosta. I am the Rancho 107 president. Last week we met with the negotiations team, and it was a good meeting. We got our openers done. We did an MOU for the vehicle GPS that they're going to be putting on the vehicles. Went over a couple of job descriptions that the districts wants to propose. And I want to thank Gio and the Director of Fiscal Services for the retro checks that we got last week for our MOU that we had done back in February or March. So thank you for that. Also, I did hear ICE was at Salazar. I want to thank you guys for having them removed and having our schools considered a safe schools. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other representatives from the other two? No? Okay. So move on to item 12, information items, presentation of local control accountability plan, the LCAP, for the 2025-2026 school year.
Ready? Oh, so I can go. Sorry. It's okay. Yeah, no more.
We apologize for the technical difficulties. Thank you. Well, good evening, Dr. Villegas, school board members, cabinet, and members of the community. Tonight we'll present our annual update on the LCAP, the comprehensive planning document that captures the priorities, goals, and actions to improve student outcomes. This evening, you might notice that I'm by myself. Ms. Jasmine Chavez Diaz will not be able to join us here in person, but she is here virtually as she's away at a school at a conference. So thank you, Ms. Chavez Diaz, for joining us. The Local Control Accountability Plan, better known as the LCAP, is a 3-year plan that describes the goals, actions, services, and expenditures to support positive student outcomes that address state and local priorities. 2025 is year 2 of our LCAP, and this update at its core is intended to be a comprehensive planning tool that describes district-wide and school-wide goals, as well as the actions to be taken to achieve the goals for all students, including specific subgroups of students in each of the 8 state priority areas, plus any locally identified priority areas. Expected progress toward meeting the goals, and as part of the district's required annual update of the plan, we must describe actual progress made toward meeting the goals and describe any adjustments to be made. And it also has the expenditures required to implement each of the goals and actions, including a description of how additional funds provided for low-income students, English learners, and foster youth will be used to increase or improve services for these students. Today, we're pleased to provide this opportunity for public comments, and at the board June 24th, we will bring forward a finalized LCAP for your approval. Before we take a look at the LCAP, we want to review the timeline and process that has been undertaken during the past few months. As shared at the past board meeting, we had held 3 meetings on 3 different LCAP topics to ensure that the voices of our students, parents, teachers, administrators, classified, and certificated partners were heard and reflected in this plan. In addition, we had surveys for those who could not attend these meetings. And our next steps in this timeline is that today we are here for the LCAP's public viewing and comments, and we'll bring our LCAP for approval at our meeting next week. We will go through the 5 goals of our LCAP. Our LCAP Goal 1 focuses on conditions of learning, and it reads, all students will receive standard-aligned instruction and access to a broad course of study from highly qualified teachers in safe, clean, and welcoming facilities. We have no new metrics to report from our mid-year update, and we will be reviewing the actions we have for our goals, our budgeted expenditures, and estimated actuals. As this chart reflects, there was a significant difference in the expenditures for maintaining facilities. The planned expenditures was 7.5, I'm rounding, an approximate, well, 7,460,424,000, while estimated actual expenditures were $606,700, resulting in a difference of $6,853,724. This difference is due to the reclassification of planned facility projects to different fund purposes outside of the LCAP, such as deferred maintenance funds or other capital outlay budgets. Although the projects remain a priority and are still being addressed, they were no longer charged to this specific action within the LCAP. The remaining expenditures for this action reflect routine maintenance and smaller scale safety improvements completed during the year. In contrast, expenditures for student wellness exceeded the budget at $793,067, totaling $950,131.45 due to the hiring of an additional licensed vocational nurse, LVN, and an expanded support from our registered nurses to better meet health needs and across school sites. We can say that we're making progress in Goal 1. All our students had access to standard-aligned instructional materials, and there were no Williams complaints. The percentage of appropriately assigned fully credentialed teachers increased by 1%, and school facilities continue to be well-maintained, with one site improving to exemplary. Additionally, students' participation in advanced coursework rose with a 4.4% increase in honors, AP, and IB enrollment, and a 1.9% increase in dual enrollment. We will now look at Goal 2, which focuses on engagement, and it reads, ERUSD will create an inclusive environment that fosters a feeling of safety and belonging among all students, parents, and staff. Many actions are included as part of Goal 2, and they have been implemented as planned, and estimated actuals and expenditures are in general alignment with budgeted expenditures. There are, however, areas in which there is a notable difference between the budgeted and estimated actual expenditures. Our wellness centers were planned at $875,000, with actual expenditures totaling $419,424.01. The material difference is due to phased implementation and scaling of wellness centers across all school sites. While wellness centers provided vital mental health services, safe spaces, workshops, and student check-ins, some sites required additional time to fully establish and staff these centers. And our board certified behavior analysts, our BCBAs, were planned with expenditure of $290,000, but no actual expenditures were recorded. This reflects challenges that we faced in staffing and implementation delays that prevented the district from deploying BCBAs as attended, but we now have a current contract in place with staff available to provide support if needed. The metrics, sorry. The metrics for Goal 2 shared in slides 9 are shared in slides through 12. And since a number of metrics were not available at the time of our LCAP mid-year review, I will now review the metrics with you. It's a little slow. Staff and parent perception of school safety have steadily improved based on the metrics where staff reported that they feel safe at their school site. That increased from 85.7 to 90.5%, while parent response indicating their child feels safe at school rose from 85.66% to 91.1%. These upward trends reflect ongoing efforts to create a safe and supportive school environment for both students and staff. The next two metrics show that parent engagement as educational partners has shown steady growth, increasing from 75.37% in 23-24 to 86.3% in 24-25. Overall, communication efforts have also improved, with 86.3% of parents and 100% of our foster parents who responded to the survey reported feeling they engaged by the district. Additionally, the percentage of low-income parents feeling engaged rose from 76.8% to 81.7%, reflecting the district's continued commitment to inclusive family engagement. We expect that our continued effort let us meet our desired outcomes for mental health support and all the metrics in Goal 2. So several actions under Goal 2 have proven effective in strengthening engagement and safety among staff and families. Staff engagement increased by 8%, and parent participation in district-sponsored activities rose by 7.13%, with notable gains among English learners and low-income families. Both staff and parent perceptions of safety improved, with a 4.8% and 5.5% increase respectively, and more staff reported having opportunities to participate in school-wide decision-making. Our Goal 3 of our LCAP focuses on pupil outcomes, which is that ERUSD will provide an effective instructional program to advance independence and establish academic preparedness that equips students to graduate college and career ready. This goal has several actions where the budgeted expenditures and estimated actual expenditures have differences. One major reason for these discrepancies are the use of grant and categorical funds to fund these actions. So for example, Title I and educator effectiveness funding were used to fund professional development. Our action for professional development to support English learners for classified staff working directly with students did not meet the budgeted expenditures because there was limited opportunities to provide that professional development. However, this year, classified staff was provided with more professional development opportunities than in previous years. We will now review the metrics, that were used to assess our progress in Goal 3. Performance on the STAR reading assessment has improved for both English learners and third grade students. Among second grade English learners, the percentage scoring at or above the 40th percentile increased from 29% in 23-24 to 33.7 in 24-25. Similarly, third grade students meeting or exceeding the district benchmark rose from 45.7 to 50.8%, reflecting positive growth in early literacy. Several actions for Goal 3 have been effective, with academic gains reflected in ELA and math on the California School Dashboard. Low-income and foster students showed growth in ELA, while English learners, low-income and foster students all made progress in math. Graduation rates increased and chronic absenteeism decreased for all student groups except foster youth, who showed a slight increase in absenteeism. However, A through G completion rates declined for low-income and English learner students, while college and career readiness showed 1% increase for our English learners. Our Goal 4 is also focused on pupil outcomes, with the focus on English learners. As it reads, ERUSD will improve English learner student performance by increasing the number of ELs reclassified by the end of elementary school and reducing the number of long-term EL students in secondary school. There are no new metrics to report on Goal 4 since our mid-year review. Share our actions, budgeted expenditures, and estimated actuals. Support services for EL monitoring contributed to improved services. However, the estimated actual expenditures of $255,803.60 was below the planned $400,000 due to staffing vacancies and unspent contracted services. Please note that funds were allocated for ELD and the EL master plan. Therefore, both the budgeted amount and the estimated expenditures reflect $0. English learners showed a strong progress in English language development, with 80.1% progressing or maintaining their English learner progress indicator level, surpassing the year 3 target. There was also a slight increase in academic performance on the CAS, with the 0.68% increase in math scores and a 1.79% decline in ELA scores. There was also a decrease both in LPAC proficiency and the reclassification rate, indicating continued need for targeted academic and language support. Our Goal 5 for 24-25 is our equity multiplier goal. Salazar High School and District Office will increase student engagement in college career readiness by increasing the number of students completing a CTE pathway by June 2025, including Hispanic, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and students with disabilities at Salazar, and Hispanic and English learner students in district office programs. District office programs is our VLA, our Virtual Learning Academy. We received this funding because 25% or more of the students did not receive a full year of learning in the same school or program, and the socioeconomically disadvantaged pupil rate was greater than 70%. Goal 5 is in the LCAP because we must address how these funds will be used. There are 3 actions that we have, which are the CTE pathway, Feet First program, and the enhanced ELA and supports and materials. The material differences between the budgeted expenditure of $203,890 and the actual expenditure of $100,000 for the CTE pathway is attributed to the delays in the implementation and limited staffing capacity. Specifically, the designated teacher was able to teach the new pathway for only 50% of the instructional day. College and career readiness improved slightly, rising from 0% to 2.3% overall, with similar gains for Hispanic and low-income students. While ELA and math scores for district-level programs, students showed measurable growth, nearing their respective goals. Suspension rates and increased significantly overall for low-income students. These mixed results suggest academic progress is being made, but additional support is needed to address behavioral outcomes. Due to changes in designation, the district office, or VLA, is no longer an equity multiplier site and will not receive funding or be monitored for the related metrics. Ruben Salazar High School is no longer in the red for college and career readiness, so those metrics will also be discontinued. However, the school still has one subgroup, socioeconomically disadvantaged, in the red for math, prompting new actions in the metrics to address this need. As a result, Goal 5 for this school, for the school year 25-26 needed to be revised. Our Goal 5 changed, and it's still an equity multiplier goal. It will now read, Salazar High School will increase student engagement and student math performance by increasing the number of students completing a CTE pathway by June 2026, including a reduction in suspension rate for Hispanic, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and students with disability, and an increased math performance for socioeconomically disadvantaged students at Salazar. Again, our district program, or VLA, is no longer part of this goal. In collaboration with Salazar staff, parents, and students, the following actions have been identified, including a focus on math with instructional materials, training for staff, and math tutoring for students. Again, our district office programs are not identified as equity multiplier, and Goal 5 needed to be revised. Our next steps for the final LCAP is to be presented for board approval at the regular board meeting on June 24th. We apologize for the error that states it's a special board meeting. We know it is not, and it will be submitted to by June 30th, 2025. An annual update will occur next year as well to review the progress and metrics related to the 24-27 goals. Mrs. Huntenberg will now share with you our budget.
Numbers? Oh, oh. I have them. Oh, for the- you don't- No, you don't have that. I thought I was plugging it for you. One moment. My glasses are good, but they're not that good.
I apologize. That was my fault.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, me.
No. Okay, there we go. Thank you.
It's probably just as small,
Yeah,
so we're sorry.
my notes are on my desk. Okay, yeah, that changed already. Okay, what you see here is the district's revenues. And in this chart, you can see the total LCFF funds of approximately 103 million. This number has slightly changed. It's 103.244 million. And so we will have that update for you on the next, if you want it sooner, we can probably provide that sooner, but you will see that on the June 24th meeting. And within that pie, you see how the LCFF funds are separated in that little inset slide where it shows the 76.7, almost 76.8 million in the LCFF funds, but then you have the 26.25 or 26 million
Nice.
in supplemental and concentration. And then it also shows the federal funds of 7.95 million and the local funds of 5.4 million and all other state funds of almost 5 million. Oh. Okay, and this slide represents the expenditures that are captured in the LCAP. So we have 133.56, almost 57 million in the general fund expenditures. And then we have the total budgeted expenditures in the LCAP of 91.6 million. And again, these numbers will change based on, because right now we're just working on estimated actuals. We have until mid-August to continue to look at our numbers and continue to try and get as close as we can to our actuals. So there will be some changes when you see the unaudited actuals. But at this time, this is the best information that we have for as of now. Or is it slow? Oh. And so this slide represents prior year expenditures of increased or improved services for high needs students. So as you can see, it was 37.8 million, and then we have about 16.16 million in actual expenditures to date. But as I mentioned, it's still moving and we still have time to take a look at these numbers and try and get as close as we can to our unaudited actuals.
So thank you very much. And if you, we appreciate the support you've given us throughout this process. And if you have any questions, please let us know.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for any questions from the board. I'll start over here with Ms. Perez, with Trustee Perez.
Thank you for the presentation. I'm a little confused. So I went online to the arancho.org and I was looking at the LCAP section. And then when I pull up the document, it says LCAP 2024 to 2025. Those goals should be similar to this, or why are they different? Because I thought it was from 2024 to 2027.
It is, and I need to see what you're looking at to be able to answer that appropriately, but they should be the same. So I don't know if there's what the discrepancy is, but if there is one, we need to correct that.
Okay, thank you. Because I was and then I think wrote down my other question.
No, it's okay.
The Salazar goal with the CTE programming, I know that there's, I believe, 2 programs that they're starting in the fall, I believe. Do you give details on that?
Sorry, I can give details. Previously to this year, we had the life management. Sorry, we had the health science pathway, and this year we added the life management courses. That's why the salary came in at 100,000 instead of the 200. The teacher was teaching half of his day, half of his periods were in the medical science, the other half were in the life management. So next year we will have the full life management and a second pathway available to our students.
Jasmine, I'm so sorry. Do you mind repeating that? Because in the beginning it was a little loud. And we didn't hear you.
Sorry.
Ironically, it was too loud and yet we didn't hear you. Apologies for that.
So prior to this school year, Salazar only had one pathway and it was in the medical science. They didn't have a full pathway. This year we added a second pathway in the life management sector. The teacher that was teaching there was teaching half of his day in the medical science, the health science, and the other half in the life management. So when you see that 100,000, it's because we could only count half of his salary towards the new pathway. Next year, there will be 2 full pathways at Salazar. So you are correct, Ms. Perez.
Sorry, so it's the medical CTE pathway and a life management pathway?
The life management, yes, that's what they had this year. And next year they'll continue with the medical pathway. In one of the suggestions you had was exploring the different pathways. So they're looking and see what they can put, but it'll be a second pathway besides the health science for next year.
Okay, so the second pathway hasn't been identified yet, is what you're saying?
No, so it was life management for this year, but I don't think that's the best fit for Salazar. It was what the teacher was able to do, and we wanted to make sure that we had 2 offerings for our students. But we want to have something that's more reflective of what our students have said that they're interested in. So we're exploring different options. Some of them we can't look at, like the kids would love a culinary, but we can't build a kitchen yet. So we're trying to work within the parameters that we have available to them.
Got it. Yeah, because that was one of the conversations that I had with one of the teachers. To look at, I know I pushed for this, but like the esports, and I think he mentioned like the business aspect of it. So throwing on like an esports event and like the business side. And so that's some of the skills, but I just wanted to see if we are exploring that or
Oh,
something.
no, for sure. That's happening. And they'll have 2 full pathways. I spoke to Tri-Cities, I think it was 2 weeks ago. We said we have the equity multiplier that we can use that. We can fund it. We just need to have 2 full pathways, not just one class from this pathway, one class from another. We need at least 2 full courses in each pathway for it to be considered a complete CTE pathway.
Okay. And then my last question, in the goal, the metrics, are all the metrics on the presentation or was only some shared?
So all the metrics that were shared, we shared all the metrics available in the mid-year already in February. What we added to this presentation was the data, the metrics that were not available then. So all
Okay.
of them are included in the LCAP, but we wanted to bring you the ones you had not seen yet. Some of them, for example, our third, our star screener, that data wasn't available in February. There was a couple of pieces there that we needed to add now. So what we did for each goal is we gave you the ones we hadn't already presented. But if you're curious about all of them, they're all listed in the LCAP.
Okay, yeah, and then my only thing, if we can look at the site to make sure the document, thank you.
I will. If you could see, I don't have the slide number and I apologize for that. But on goal 1 actions, it does state no new metrics to report since the mid-year. And we did that on the actions where they weren't there. So sorry for not being clearer.
Ms. Perez, one of the differences might be that we present the LCAP now. We'll also present it for approval next week. And then once you approve it, then we submit it to LACO. And LACO then gives us a little bit of feedback. So for example, if you see a difference in goal 5, it could be that LACO came back and said, your goal is okay, but you need an end date. It needs to be a SMART goal. So we had to go back and add by June 2025. So if they're a little different, it might be that it was feedback that was given after it was board approved. There were minor changes within the LCAP, but it should be it should be the final version that's posted. So we'll make sure that it is.
Good. Trustee Saavedra?
So this is my first year as not participating as a parent. And I know everybody in categorical lives and breathes the LCAP, and I truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
I would like to see I know we had the parents surveyed does your goal 2 under safety and mental wellness, you know, I'm always pushing that, but I would like to see the students. The parents are saying 85, 90, 97, and for foster parents, 100%, which is awesome. Their students know where to go if they need help, but I would like to see if make sure the students also know where to go, like if that question was asked. And, you know, any increase in that number, even if it's just one student, it could be the student that really needed it, really
That's true.
never know who you're impacting. So thank you for that information. And my question is, I really would like to see something, what else we can do for the English learners as far as A through G. When we were at the graduation and all the Honor Crest kids stood up, it was overwhelming, like so many students stood up, right? So they have to get principals on a roll and they have to be A through G, right? And just, I would love to see more kids hit that mark next year. So, and years to come. So that would be my only other comment.
And Ms. Avedra, I don't want to speak too early, but my rough numbers and calculations in speaking to the principals, it's looking like our A through G rate will be higher. I'm hesitant to add adjectives before how high or adverbs, but it's looking like it's going to be higher than that has been in the last couple of years.
And Ms. Avedra, also when we met with our parent groups to
Yeah.
review the LCAP, that was one of the feedback they gave us for safety is why do they feel safe or why don't they feel safe? Because maybe we think our perspective is, oh, we're doing X, Y, and Z for them to feel safe, but that doesn't make them feel safe. Maybe it's something a little different. So that was also brought up when we had our groups with our parents. So
Thank
thank
you.
you. See, you haven't stopped being a parent.
Thank you. Trustee Mejia?
You. So I have a couple of questions. The first one is related to goal number 2. You mentioned that there was 4 schools without parents representation at, I'm assuming DAC-DLAC.
Yes, we have them for our school site council. We've been struggling to make sure that all our schools have representation for our DAC-DLACs. And one of the things we did, and it was also based on parent feedback, is that we've created our meetings where parents can come in person and also virtually. So we've been trying to monitor that and make more parents aware of it. It also helps us tremendously, like when we had our parent event last week, the parents share with each other the opportunities to participate and do that. We're also going to be working closer with our community/parent liaisons to bring them in. And also on feedback you gave us, we're working next year to get the Education 100 and the BCAP program to get parents involved in that way. And once they see the benefits of that, we're hoping they feel empowered to participate in other school advisory committees and different ways to support our student achievement and us.
Thank you. So I have a suggestion. Can we reach out to LACO as well to see if they have any strategies they might have offer support to get parents more involved. And also like when we do our parent summit, maybe if you do like a little mini video of why it's important for parents to be involved in schools at council. They're part of the decision-making body. And if some type of emotional, see yourself on the school site council.
They are school site council. The issue would be more the other activity. They are school site council, but they do tie in.
But that's just it though. They're not seeing what they could do at the next level. The other thing that I haven't gone to see if that changed, but a lot of the times it was the school principals that were the chair and not the parents. So when El Rancho's school site council bylaws had the president or the chair attend the DAC and DLAC, that was embedded. So look at the bylaws. That's another suggestion. And again, encouraging the parents to be parent leaders. They could do it, but they need to see themselves and they need to be encouraged as well. Thank you for that. Goal number 4, you mentioned something about the EL roadmap and that it had a 0 cost to it, but I don't think I've seen a copy of the EL roadmap.
Well, sure.
If we can get a copy of it. And with that, definitely getting support from Californians Together. They have excellent resources. I think this goes tied with what Trustee Saavedra had mentioned about our English learners. They have so many strategies. Gabe, excellent resources as well to strengthen our EL roadmap. And then goal number 5 for Salazar High School, I just wanted clarification. The monies towards those classes for CT, is that part of the pass-through that goes through Tri-Cities?
I don't think so, Jasmine.
No, yes, that's part of the pass-through. We contacted Tri-Cities and said, how much is this teacher for a second pathway? And that part of the pass-through was allocated from the equity multiplier funds.
So that's 200,000 from the pass-through of 600,000 that is given to Tri-Cities?
100,000 of the 200,000 comes from the equity multiplier.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. I know that we still need to have a discussion about possibly increasing the pass-through, so maybe we can offer something else or in addition to more opportunities. The other one was, you mentioned Feet First also as one of the activities that we have, and you don't need to give it to us right now, but if we can get information on the participation rate for Feet First.
Participation rate,
Sure, we'll reach
And
out to Mr.
the
Sermeno
last-
to get that information.
I'm sorry?
I said, we'll reach out to Mr. Sermeno to get that information.
Oh, thank you so much. The last one is, I know that you mentioned that some of the goals were revised. Can actions be revised as well? And the reason I ask is because I know that you did an amazing job piloting Avid Excel at North Park. And I'm just wondering if we could now possibly start looking, embedding it in the LCAP for other locations.
So we can revise actions, we can revise goals at any time. I don't think that we would need to revise them, Ms. Mejia, as long as we have Avid Excel, or even if just we have additional supports for ELs, we can use that funding to now implement it at other school sites. In talking to Dr. Kimes about her success at North Park and with her now going to STEAM, we've had conversations about the possibility of starting it at other school sites. We've even spoken to the high school. Actually, one of our high school ELD teachers is at Avid Summer Institute right now doing one of the Avid Excel programs that are geared with strategies for the high school because they were so impressed with what Dr. Kimes has done in North Park.
And we also talk to the principals and teachers to make sure they're committed to put the time and the energy to make sure that they implement the program so that it impacts student achievement.
Thank you. And just my last 2 comments are, can we keep track of how many students are involved in extracurricular activities? I know Dr. Villegas asked at the graduation, he asked the students that are involved in anything to stand up, but are we keeping, can we keep track of those type of metrics, whether it be a club? I think if we increase our numbers, it's going to benefit our students, but if we're not keeping track per se, then we don't know if there's growth, if it could be also embedded in the LCAP. Last one is just the parent feedback. The parent feedback when the parents get to ask questions and there's a written response by the superintendent. I'm just wondering if any feedback, there'll be any changes or revisions based on that feedback.
There is, and we'll be sharing that with you, and do have to apologize because due to the change in personnel that we had in our office internally, there were delays in sharing that. So I take full responsibility and apologize to that. But the feedback that parents give us, not only with those questions that are responded in writing by the superintendent, but also the feedback that we receive when we have the LCAP meetings. Feedback that we have when we talk to parents here on the side, like, hey, I really liked how you did this, or, you know, what did you think about changing this? We always take that feedback into consideration when we try to improve what the services and resources available to our parents. So we will, and that will be shared with you, and I do apologize for that.
No worries.
In addition, Ms. Mejia, there is also a section at the beginning of the LPAC where they, sorry, or the LCAP where they ask us to list the feedback that our different partners gave us. And then we're required to list how that feedback has impacted the goals. So there's some of the things that were spot on where you guys shared feedback and the parents shared the exact same feedback. Ms. Saavedra, the A through G with our ELs, our parents said the same thing. Having more the different supports, you can see now that there's a little bit more with tutoring. We've expanded a little bit more tutoring. We want to bring in tutors not only for math at Salazar High School specifically, but also at El Rancho High School. So that's feedback from our parents as well as other stakeholders.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee LaFarga?
Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to just echo the comments and sentiments of Trustee Mejia around parent engagement and involvement. The more we can get parents involved and increase the number, obviously the broader impact we can have across the board for parent engagement. I really appreciated you explaining the variances of the budgeted versus the estimated actuals. And I apologize if I missed this, but for the mental health counselors, did you explain that variance? Because the budgeted expenditure was 3.4 million and estimated actuals was 1.5.
So that's because so for every variance there is in the actual LCAP, there's a section we have to list action by action on why the variance, and I acknowledge whether there was a difference or not. But for the mental health counselors, I'm going to assume it's because we used a lot of the grant funding to pay for them. And that's the tricky part when we say we're going to spend this much money, because we have different resources to pay for them. It sometimes it shows like, oh, you didn't spend it with the LCAP, but we did provide the services. So I don't have that exactly in front of me, but it is explained in the LCAP.
And I'm sorry, Dora, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the mental health counselors are funded through grants. And so that is partly why we don't hit the 3.4, but we always put that in there in case grants, like in the situation we are now, where we lose grants or grants funding doesn't come in, we are still able to keep that service for our students.
And are we at where we want to be with the service from a mental health standpoint in terms of counselors?
We definitely don't want to decrease. And I know we've been working with Ms. Delgado to make sure that if we can add more, we have that line item there. Like she and I have spoken about having a mental health counselor at the district level. Sorry, Dora, I don't want to misspeak, but we want to make sure we can, regardless of what changes occur, we can still keep that funding source and that service available for all our kids.
So that money is there in case a funding stream disappears.
And grant sunset, that type of situation.
Okay.
Sometimes, like for example, we exceeded with the nurse because we needed to add an additional nurse. So we have that money there. If we exceed, or if we spend less than we estimated, we just have to explain it. But as long as our services are being provided for those students, then LACO is okay with it, provided an explanation.
Okay, and I just want to ensure that we're having
Definitely
services provided.
Yes.
From a mental counselor standpoint, mental health counselors. So
we don't want to lose that continuity.
yeah, and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. A lot of the good questions from the board. That one of them was answered as far as feet first. I am interested in the numbers. That's something I believe was implemented barely like 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Last year was our first year.
Yeah, was it? Okay. And then also with the virtual learning, are you seeing an increase or decrease in the number of students?
I know definitely at the high school level, there's an increase. That's the highest, the biggest, largest group that we have in the Virtual Learning Academy is high school students.
And as far as students not in high school, are we seeing a drop because students are coming back, or?
No, I don't know. I think the numbers have been overall sustained for the program and they've been maintained. And I want to say, we can argue they're similar to the number of students enrolled at Salazar as they are through
So
independent.
there hasn't been a significant increase or decrease since, like, just say COVID,
It's
been pretty
maintained.
steady. Okay, thank you. Once again, thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And moving on
Very
to, oh, thank you. Moving on to item B, presentation of Rancho Unified School District's 2025-2026 budget to the Board of Education.
Good evening, Board President, Board of Education, Superintendent, Cabinet members, colleagues, community members. We're here to present our proposed budget for the fiscal year 2025-2026. Can you hear me better? Okay. I would like to first of all thank the hard work from our fiscal services staff, specifically Lillian Huntenberg, our director, and Laura Lucio, our assistant director, who could not attend because she is at Azusa with her husband who's being recognized. He's a fiscal director at Azusa. So she's there with him. All right, so thank you. So this chart is familiar for you. What am I doing? Okay, now you can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me better? Yes. Thank you. Here, I'll hold it. Okay, I'm multi-screen tasking here. So we are currently at a cycle where we continue to present multiple financial reports. The budget cycle in itself goes through a process, and what, in my point of view, is a continuous improvement process because we fine-tune details. The budget in itself takes important information from the prior fiscal year and we make estimates, and this is done at a snapshot in time for every financial report, where at this point, we have not closed the books and we are preparing in that direction. We go through the cycle. We will come back to you in September with our unaudited actuals and get another picture in time. And then one of my favorites, well, they're all pretty favorite, but then it's first interim in December and then second interim in March. And then we have this continuous cycle of presenting the information that we have along with our crystal ball. And the reason I say that is because the next slide. So as everyone knows, California is going through a very serious financial economic situation. So when we develop the budget, we look at historical information and we need to make specific projections based on the information that we receive in January from the governor's budget, initial budget, then the May revision. We stay informed. We share that information with the board. Cabinet reviews it as well. And we look at what is happening in terms of the finances. So our economy, our state economy is projected to experience a growth recession. I thought that was an interesting term. It's projected that way because it's characterized by slow economic growth coupled with an increase in unemployment. So the growth recession suggests that while the economy will continue to grow, the pace will slow down significantly, impacting state revenues and public sector resources. So what this means for us that it makes it more difficult to plan long-term projections when we do not know if we're going to have that continued stability. With the state's slow growth, it in turn affects the money that is allocated to our school district. Why? Because rising unemployment rates can also lead to higher demand for social services, potentially reducing the state's ability to allocate additional funding to education. The financial outlook in itself suggests that we need to be prepared for constrained budgets and slower revenue growth in the upcoming years. Proposition 98, minimum guarantee, is really important along with all these other factors because although the law in itself is a guarantee for funding education, the fact that education received $4.6 million less, that trickles down to us. So we need to prepare for less funding. With the LCFF, local control funding formula, the 2.3% COLA is applied. In doing so, this is a small increase to help keep pace with inflation. However, the COLA doesn't really address the inflation in itself. And I'd like to give you some examples. So, for example, just in healthcare costs alone, we're looking at 5 to 8% increase. Utilities, 5 to 10% increase. Fuel, 10 to 20%. Special education received a COLA as well of 2.3%, but we expect a 5 to 6% increase in costs. Our insurance premiums for property and liability, as well as workers' compensation, we're looking at 15 to 20% increases. AB 218 is related to sexual abuse and molestation cases that go back a long time. This is a huge hit. We're looking in some cases in school districts, we talked about this amongst us. We're looking at 30% up to 100% increases. We were hit for prior years close to, was it 700? 400, almost 500,000. Almost $500,000 that we had not budgeted for. So this is a concern of future growing costs. And please rest assured that as a district, we are also taking the necessary steps to improve our training to staff. So we minimize this risk, as well as our Keenan inspections about safety in the classrooms. So the next slide, sorry, I jumped ahead. Very important is the topic related to our federal funding. We've reported to the board that we are not getting Title III funding that's being reduced. So we have included that in our projections. That represents $156,000 that we won't be receiving. And we're reallocating the employees that are budgeted under that funding source. We lost our mental health professional development grant out of approximately $4 million. we will not receive 1.7 million. That professional development grant is a pipeline to obtain, to improve the quality of our services for mental health. And it's a pipeline for future mental health professionals in school districts. And we were just talking about that in the context of the LCAP. So next slide, please. Thank you for your help. So we use School Services of California resources to exemplify a lot of the information. I talked about a little bit about the growth recession. We do know that we're expected to experience a higher inflation rate. Because it was already 1% higher than estimated in January. So we're keeping an eye on all those things. There's also the higher average tariff rates that may disrupt trade and increase our costs. And just overall, the basic need to continue monitoring what those trends look like, so that when we come back to you and present that picture, that snapshot in time, we keep these factors in mind. So with salaries and benefits being the largest piece of our budget, we are estimating very carefully our budget that Lily will follow next with the details, the technical details of the budget. We have developed a conservative budget for you. Okay, and then I'd like to hand this over to Mrs. Huttenberg. There you are. Oh. Do you see it?
Yes, it has to go down. Next slide.
You can just scroll down like that. Oh, but yours was that slide, the slide that the budget assumptions.
All right. Okay, so next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so the budget assumptions that we took for this budget, the revenues for the multi-year projections are based on the latest School Services of California dartboard. And the current year revenues and expenditures projected for the year-end estimated actuals. And as I mentioned, when we presented the LCAP, we try and get as close as we can to our estimated actuals, so we show a clearer picture as we look at our ending fund balances. So the expenditures in the 25-26 budget year and the subsequent years do not show any cost of settlements. And the one-time revenues and expenditures have been removed from our multi-year projections. Now, this slide shows the district's revenues as a whole, as you saw in the BOP, the budget overview for parents. And here you see the largest piece of our pie is our LCFF sources of 103.24 million. And then we have our federal revenues of 7.953. And then we have our other state revenues of almost 5 million. And the other local revenues of 5.44 million, almost 5.45 million. And then we have our transfers in of 900,000, which represents about 1%. This one. Oh. Okay, this pie represents the actual expenditures for budgeted for 25-26. And the largest cost is our certificated salaries of approximately 49 million. Then we have our classified salaries of 22.1 million, 178 million. And then the employee benefits at 32.7 million. And we have our books and supplies at 7.78 million. Services and other operating costs at 17.78 million. And then we have our transfers out for budgeted year 25-26 at 3.24 million. And we have the combined, the other outgo of 1.16 and the indirect cost of close to 300,000. This slide shows the contribution from our general fund unrestricted to our restricted resources. And the bulk of that cost is our special ed programs of 17.8 million approximately, and then our restricted routine at 4.69 million, and that is mandatory, that restricted routine, for a total of 22.487 million. And this slide shows the multi-year projections for our revenues. So as you can see in our first year, our budgeted 25-26 year, we have 122.5 million. And then in the next year, 26-27, we have 119.1 million. And then in 27-28, the 120.5 million. And the reason why you see any types of fluctuations in any of our revenues, it could be that we do receive our some funds from various areas, such as other funds, or we get indirect cost. We receive on 27-28, we're going to get an additional COLA, slightly higher than in 26-27. So that's why you see in state revenues, it's slightly higher in that third year out. And then for federal revenue, as Gio mentioned earlier, in the budget year of 25-26, you see a 7.95 million. And then the 2 years out, we're taking a conservative approach on our federal programs because there's still a lot of uncertainty with those federal programs. And then for the proposed expenditures for 25-26, we have a 569 million. And then in the second year out, we have 121.178 million. And then in that third year, we have 122.1 million in that 27-28 out year. And again, the same goes for the expenditure piece. We do have for an example, we do have like books and supplies in the out years. Once we know more about any types of textbook adoptions or anything that the district may need going forward, we will see an increase either at first interim or at second interim when more is known. And then for the services and the other operating expenses, that same is true for those 2 out years. Once we know more about where the district is heading with, as Gio mentioned, with utility costs and with services and any kind of services that the district is contractually obligated to move into, we'll know more in the out years for the multi-year contracts. And then for the other outgo and transfers of cost in the 2 out years, we do see that we will be able to receive some additional funding from like our state preschool fund, as well as our Fund 13, our nutrition services fund. And how we would get those dollars is we provide their services for their operating costs. We provide services for their payroll processing. We process all their accounts payable. So we are allowed as a district to take a certain percentage for those services. It's called overhead costs. And then one of the biggest changes you see is on the transfers out for the proposed budget in fiscal year 25-26. We have 2 funds that are not revenue based. That's our Fund 14, which is a deferred maintenance. And we have Fund 67, which is our property liability insurance. And so in speaking to Mr. Compton, our maintenance director, he and I sat down and he showed me what he was planning for 25-26 for a lot of the maintenance costs for the roofing repair. And you see that we won't, and once we do those repairs, you know, we're banking on that those repairs won't be needed in the out years. So that's why you see the reduction. And as we know more in 25, 26 towards the end, and if he sees additional costs that may be incurred, he will bring that to our attention and we will align it at second interim. Thank you, Jim. Okay, and here you see the net increase and decrease in fund balance. And as you can see, there's 11.044 million negative. And that's the district spending down their restricted resources. So in the first year, the plan is to see what we can do to utilize those dollars to better provide services to the students and spend down some of those restricted resources. We had a beginning fund balance of 62 million. And so the 62 million minus the 11 is the 50.988. And within that 50.988 million, you see that the components of that fund balance. So you see, we have a revolving cash and our inventory that's usually estimated. We have mandatory $25,000 that we keep in our revolving cash. And then during year-end closing, when we prepare unaudited actuals, we'll have a better idea of what our actual inventory is. And you will see that on the unaudited actuals. We have a restricted ending balance of 37.263 million. And then we have a committed amount of 9.184 million. And then our 5% reserve of 6.678 million. So that's what makes up that 50.988 million. And then in the out year, you see that the district has a decrease of 2.0498 million. And that's just the district trying to right size itself until more information is known. So we kind of get a clearer picture at second interim. So as we look at where the district is headed, what are the district's needs, we then start to look at some of those restricted balances, and then we start to spend those balances down on what the district's needs are for that out year. And so then you see that we started with the 50.988 million, and then with the decrease in the fund balance, it's 48.938 million. And within the components of that 48.938 million, we have again the $25,000 for revolving cash fund and the inventory of about 47,000 estimated, and then we'll change that. And then we have our restricted balance of 29.7 million. And then a commitment in the out year of 13.1 million, and then our 5% reserve for economic uncertainties. And then in the third year out, we're projecting a 1.6 million. And then we have our beginning fund balance of 48.9, leaving 47.3 million, of which the components again, we have our restricted of 24.26. Commitments of 16.8, and then 6.1 for a reserve for economic uncertainties. So that's what makes up those components. And then one of the things that will change, and Gio can probably speak to this piece, is there are still needs for the district. And so once those needs are pinpointed and agreed upon, then you will see that commitment. Rather than it being a committed ending fund balance, it will then become part of the operating budget or an expenditure. So you will see that as we move along and at first interim, and then Gio will speak to that piece. Oh. Maybe not.
So the board, prior to my arrival, and this is a practice that was in place for all of California, school districts had to commit funds if the reserves exceeded 10%. There have been some changes to the most recent requirements. However, we will bring to the board a resolution next week to continue making the emphasis on those committed funds. There is a project that we will address at the next special board meeting, hopefully earlier that day of our next meeting on July 15th. I don't know if that has been made official yet or not, but we are planning to present different projects. And one of them is related to the fire and alarm system. We're currently doing an assessment that you approved about a month ago. And I'm hoping that by that time we'll have a better picture and we'll need to use some of these committed funds. So crossing my fingers that we won't use it all up, but we'll bring more information to you. So now the next step is to recommend the proposed budget for your approval next week and send it off to the county for certification with a positive certification, and then also tied to our LCAP and the plan that you have reviewed tonight. Are there any questions, please?
Great, thank you for the presentation. I'm gonna go ahead and start to my left for any trustee questions. Trustee Perez?
Thank you, Ms. Padilla. Thank you, Ms. Sandberg. Sorry, so the Title I funding that is at risk in the, I guess, the revenue, that's assuming that we're gonna get, or is that assuming that we might lose it? Or we're not sure yet?
We have included the budget conservative. So we are not including Title III. And this falls under the restricted funds. We're not including Title III because we know that has been already decided by the federal budget, and the mental health professional development grant, the remaining $1.7 million. We're not including those, and we are including a small percentage as an estimate, approximately 10% just of restricted funds, just in case there are additional decisions with regards to those federal dollars.
Okay. I don't have a question. I mean, just the key consideration slide, right? Just the COLA, the tariffs, the inflation. It's scary because we don't know what's going to happen. So I thank you and your team for, accounting for it and just keep us updated. But thank you.
So thank you. And it's not our intention to present a doomsday scenario. We are being responsibly, we're being responsible from a fiscal perspective and taking into consideration and making all of us aware that yes, there's going to be a 8% COLA, and then down the road it's going to stabilize, but we have to present the full picture of what we're dealing with. That affects us each and every one in our own households, let alone the budget of a school district.
Thank you. Trustee Saavedra?
I just want to echo what she said. I really appreciate all the work that you guys did with this. The things that we do to save money and what you do to be fiscally prudent, the 5% reserves, all of that is really good. I would like to, I know we just put a bunch of money into the stadium. I would also like to see a little bit of jazz with the actual furniture that's in the classrooms. A lot of it is really old and outdated, but again, like I said, everything at its time. And I also appreciate you following up with that fire and
Alarm.
audit assessment that you guys are doing. No, that's it for now, right now. I don't.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Mejia?
Thank you for the presentation, Ms. Sandberg and Ms. Padilla. Very well laid out. So one of the things that you mentioned was the health benefits and the increase. I know that you have something in plans already. If just for information, if you can give us an update on the Friday update, just where we're at with that health benefits. I know that we've requested an energy audit before. Same thing, if you give us an update on that, because again, we're gonna have to be looking at everything, right? To try to stay not in deficit. And yeah, so to your point about AB 218, LAUSD just paid, agreed a settlement, I think about $600 million. It's gonna break some school districts. It really is. It's something that's very serious. It's something that, as, CSBA members, Legislative Action Week, we did speak to our legislators trying to advocate. You know, they need to find a solution, or else a lot of school districts are gonna be in trouble. Same thing with the Prop 98, maneuver number 2 that Governor Newsom is trying to do right now. We have been advocating, we've been doing, alerts, contacting our, legislators and the governor to, for him to change course. I know that CSBA is ready to take legal action on the district's, on the district's behalfs. Lastly, I just want to ask about the, what was it? Just the mental health part. I know you mentioned that we're getting rid of, we don't have a grant anymore. Just if we could, and I'll bring this up as a future agenda item, the CBYI as a possible funding stream. I know that that would be something that other school districts are doing. And I'm hoping that we can explore that because it'll be a source of revenue stream to, to account for these other funding options, revenue streams that we're losing. And those were all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee LaFarga.
Thank you for the detailed explanation. Numbers are numbers, but you bring the numbers to life, and I really appreciate. I had a couple of questions. I'm sorry if I missed this because it's hard to hear with the echoes. With the $4.6 billion in the Prop 98 funding, that seems like a lot. Is that from the current year we're in to this next year?
Yes, that's from the May revise. So what the governor is doing is what's called propping up by using the reserves to cover a lot of these things. However, if unemployment increases, the scenario I presented earlier, there will be additional services perhaps that would impact the state budget. So it has a domino effect.
That's significant. Yeah, I didn't heard that number before, so that's why I was like, wow. But thank you for clarifying that. The other piece is you pulled out the funding from the 25-26 budget as being conservative, or
Yes, sir.
have we been notified that funding stream is eliminated?
We have not been notified officially regarding Title III. I have not seen that communication. However, we did, Mrs. Soto Delgado did receive a letter, and we have been in communication with the state. They were at the last minute contacting school districts a few weeks ago to provide details on what our expenditures and how much money we had left. And we complied with that deadline because they gave us like a turnaround of 4 hours. We did send that because they were doing something at the state level.
And it comes through the state, right?
It comes,
It passed through
It's
the
a
state.
yeah.
Through the state. The reason I'm asking is what I think happening with the federal money that's on the chopping block, because my work is a part of that, is that for 25-26, that budget is already in existence. Right? So we're really talking about cuts for 26-27 of programs.
Yes, correct.
But you're taking the approach of being conservative so that maybe we get used to not having it, but which is fine. I understand the philosophy. I just wanted to pretty that those funding streams, because Congress has not passed the budget in years, and they just do a continuing resolution, and that expect to happen for this year as well. for 25, 26. It might be safe to assume that we'll have that money. I'm just saying. The other piece is the state is reaching out to you because they want you to spend it, so they don't take it away, right? So I'm assuming that's why they reached out, because we gotta demonstrate that we need the money.
If I can answer that,
Yes.
the letter actually indicated that our funding would only be available through December because they don't operate on the school year, they operate on fiscal, calendar year, excuse me.
Correct.
So once December 31st hits, we will no longer have that funding. They are taking it away. I don't believe it funnels through the state. I believe that
That's
is
in
directly
relation
federal government.
to the grant. So
Correct.
specifically to the
To
grant,
Mental health
to the grant.
administrator.
Yeah, what I think you're referring to is the Title III
Yeah,
funding, for
the
example.
Title III funding. Yeah, because that's,
So
Yeah.
that was on the federal budget
Right.
as being eliminated. So overall, what we've calculated is conservatively a 10% reduction in restricted funds.
let's just keep an eye on that, because I do think it's gonna be
Absolutely.
monies that we'll still have for 25, 26. It's the 26, 27 fiscal year that everything's really on the chopping block. Should they, pass that skinny budget that the administration proposed, which pretty much eliminates a lot of programs.
Correct.
The other question I had is service and operating went down by 3 million or so. I just wanted to know what's that impact on the budget? And that's on page.
Yeah.
All the contraction, like
Uh,
your service.
Expenditures.
So that,
Consultant.
it's an estimate in terms of all of our renewing contracts.
Mhm.
So we have to assess if there is going to be any increases. Normally, there's like a CPI index increase to some of these continued contracts. So that is the difference.
Are those contracts that are sunsetting and we're not gonna renew, or that's just,
It's
are we compromising anything? Is that in terms
So-
of what we're able to do
No,
as a
we're-
district?
Minimizing anything, and with the action that the board took in approving the SERP,
Yes.
the supplemental early retirement plan, that is already factored into these projections. So we are required by LACO to continue looking at a fiscal stabilization plan. So these are conservative estimates. It's our crystal ball at this time
Hard
of
to predict, yeah.
what we're going to predict for the future.
Okay.
But to answer specifically, are we compromising any existing contracts? No, sir.
Okay. Thank you for your answers and for the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, just a couple of more comments than questions. And obviously, we're going to be looking at opportunities where we can save, right? Are these estimates, did you include King and Associates? I know they're including, is that included, the projected monies that we're estimated to be getting?
So with Keenan, are you referring to our property and liability or our health and benefits? I'm sorry.
I think he's
King Consulting.
King Consulting,
King, yes.
for more for the access to monies for modernization and for, replacing our buildings, that kind of, those different applications.
Correct. So no, that's not included in this budget projection. We know that we anticipate in 2027, hopefully towards the end of 2027, there will be approximately $7 million. In 2028, there'll be a bigger chunk of money, but it's specifically for school facilities. It's the school facilities program that we got in line for
Yes.
with all of the projects. And then that it will be recalculated as well. Once the project for our biggest project, the stadium and the pool also are submitted for us to get in line for
And
that.
is that state monies or is that federal?
That is state money.
Okay, so well, I can't
Yeah.
say no, but
Well, that comes out
Should
of
be fine.
Proposition 2 that was
Yes.
passed in last November.
okay. And then just aside from that, I mean, obviously, we can look to see where we can save safety wise, as far as having less accidents and what we can do to help prevent, educate our employees, right? As far as, how to prevent accidents and, how to work safely, correct? Also,
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
As a matter of fact, our most recent professional development back in March included those pieces that you were referring to. we're planning for our operations team. We'll be cooking some hot dogs and having a training related to safety. So we look for every opportunity to reemphasize and put a good program in place.
Excellent. And then you guys are doing a great job. So thank you very much. One more comment. I just wanted to say happy belated birthday, Miss Padilla. So. hope you
And
enjoy-
Dean, we share a birthday.
And Mr. Cochran as well.
Yes.
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 So,
Thank you.
thank you for the presentation.
Okay.
Moving on to item 13, discussion on campus safety.
Yes, thank you so much. We will be talking about campus safety, and today in particular, we want to talk particularly about the immigration support, the issues that our community has been going through, and you know, and I know I have some commentary on that when it's the superintendent's report. But what I wanted us to just share with the board and with the community is essentially the supports and protocols we have in place to make sure safety is really number one. And that's in all cases. So our commitment is to the safety of the students. Our commitment is to make sure the students are safe, our staff is safe, and that, you know, our families feel secure and safe. And so to that end, we've gone through a series of steps to work with our administrators, to communicate to our teachers, to make sure that everyone is fully aware of what we're able and not able to do. In circumstances when either it could be any kind of either ICE agents or any other agents that would come to try to access our campuses. And you know, our idea is that we have a closed campus, and so and that goes for anybody. We do not want to allow anyone on our campuses unless they have business to take care of, and that is very specific. They've got to have a verified business to take care of, and that usually means that if you're a parent, you know, you have a student there, and there's a reason for the visit to happen, and we verify that. And if you are, you know, any kind of agency that comes in, there has to be proof that you have to have access to our campuses for any particular case. And so we worked with our principals to make sure that those protocols are understood. They've been also informed that in the event that they would have a situation that they were not sure of, they would contact us immediately, and we would be able then to respond. And so, Dora, do you want to take that and talk about some steps specifically?
I think you've said it all, but I will go ahead and just talk a little bit about what we've put in writing for administration, as well as most recently today, we met with them. So if we do have, and we understand that there was immigration enforcement on our today, we do ask that they approach the agents, ask them their purpose for being on site, ask if they have any credentials such as a signed judicial warrant. If they do not, we ask that they leave the property. We do immediately contact legal counsel after they then, you know, obviously inform the superintendent and our school police department. The other thing that I wanted to say is that if necessary, we will have students remain on campus for their safety up until a parent or guardian can pick them up, or they feel safe to go home. We will also make sure that we notify the Board of Education as our community immediately as soon as we do have an incident here in the school district.
And it's important as well at this point in time to just remind everyone that we need to have emergency contacts that are accurate, because in the event that we are holding on to a student that hasn't been picked up, and that might be a situation that we have multiple ways to call people to help pick them up. And that's sometimes requires some phone calls. So I know that it's a little taxing sometimes, but it's important for that information to be up to date and to go deeper than it normally is. Sometimes we go 3 deep, but we might want to go 6 deep in terms of 6 different contacts so that we can make those phone calls to make sure our students are safe. Again, our issue is safety. We want our students to be safe. You know, we're a learning institution. We want students to feel that they're learning here every day. We want teachers to feel that they're here to teach and to support the students. And anything we can do to support that is what we're really trying to do, to create an environment where student is learning. And we'll be sending something out later today, just reminding everyone that summer school is still intact tomorrow. And that, we are as business as usual, and our students are ready to learn, our teachers are ready to teach.
And I'm not sure if I stated though that the judicial warrant has to be assigned judicial warrant. So just want to make sure that that's clear. I do have a couple comments that I want to say about mental health. May I continue to say what I was going to say?
During the superintendent's report, we'll
Oh,
say that.
Okay.
The other piece of safety that we were going to discuss is just quick information. We have been looking into the idea of tasers for officers, and we believe that having the appropriate equipment to deal with situations is an important part. And so just informing the board that though that was part of the discussion in the agenda, we're not going to go into a deep conversation. Just a quick little update that moving forward, we're still looking into this, and we'll have more information for the board and for the community coming soon. So I don't know if there's questions. We'd love to field any questions you might have related to safety.
Yes, thank you for the information. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up over here to Trustee Perez.
The protocols that we mentioned, are they documented anywhere? Where?
Yes, they're documented in various places. We have had memorandums that have been sent to administrators and actually staff as a whole. We've also sent some of these protocols out to the community, just in general, as to what are the guidelines of how we're keeping everyone safe. But we do have these documents in writing, and we'll be glad to share them.
Because I think today, the social media post was very effective in reaching people who may miss the Aries message, or, and it was very effective in because people started in the community, they went for it, right? They were like this, and there's so much miscommunication. So I'm wondering if there's a place on the website or a place that it's not through just an email, but somewhere where it sits, these are the protocols that we're following, just to give that reassurance to parents and community members that we are, that we're following. I don't know if we're allowed to.
And we do have a section in the website that
Oh, okay.
speaks to that. There's a little box in there that we can click on it, and it does provide information about that, including the board policy. Because the board, I want to thank the board for passing board policy that supports our students in this manner, as well as a resolution that supports safe schools and campuses. So we have had, in terms of resolution, in terms of board policy, and in the website, there is information. But I think your point is well taken, that we have to continue to communicate as best we can, because not everybody knows that those things exist. And when new information comes out, like what happened today, people sometimes don't know where to look.
And I don't know if it has to do with this, but it kind of does. Communication, I know that we have a communications team, right? But I do think that we need to be a little bit more involved. There's, and I don't know if I'm going out wrong, but there's like the Pico Rivera group, and there's all these places where people are getting different information. And so if we can have our communications team kind of monitoring that, making sure that any information that's given out is accurate, and that we as a district know what is the communication that's being out there, what's being shared, and I don't know if we can, but just somehow where they're informed about what is it that the community's saying, and just to hear them and know that we're available. And that's all.
Thank you, Trustee Saavedra.
I don't know where to start, but so first of all, I'm always talking about safety, and I always say that's our number one job is keeping our students safe, our staff safe. If you can't do that, they can't learn. So I'm always with the safety ad hoc that we started, talking about protocols, and make sure it trickles down to everybody, all the way down to the people that are on the front lines answering the doors. And I think that everything, the way it was handled today, right, the protocols were there, they were followed, and it was communicated, and that we have to keep our students safe, and I thank you for that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Mejia?
technical difficulties there. Thank you, Dr. Vegas, for acting quickly today. That was very alarming. I know parents were stressed, they were worried, and not only that, just seeing everything that's going out there today in Pico Rivera, it made everyone feeling very uneasy. So I noticed that a neighboring district, they did a soft lockdown. So they closed up their parking, so ICE wouldn't go in there. Can we do something like that? Should there be, activity that's reported, they're around? Can we do a soft lockdown? That's one of my questions.
Absolutely. We could certainly do that. And we didn't call it a soft lockdown, but we did ask every single campus and facility that had any parking space or any entrance that could be entered by anyone to lock down, to close the gates and lock them. Because that's not always the case. And so we did have that communication. That was one of the very first things we did before anything, even the communication went out, is every campus was locked in the sense that no one could come in. The gates were closed. We sent that and viral communication. And there was a communication that went out as well. Oh, we're working on the signs. Yeah, we're working on getting signs to make sure that we have no trespassing signs and, making sure that we have appropriate signage at each of the campuses so that should someone want to use our parking, that there's at least a clear signage already indicating that this is a private property or this is a school district property and they're not allowed to be here without permission.
Thank you for that. And then you mentioned the emergency cards and making sure that we have correct information, right? I know, well, at least I wouldn't know now because I don't have a student in the district, but when you used to do the teleparent, when you would do the calls, there would be numbers that are dead, that are not, not working. So are we keeping track of that and trying to make an effort to get a working number? I don't know if you could provide some information on a weekly update on that. And then the other one is just regarding our students' mental health. Again, this was very traumatizing for some of our families. And I know that we have, Hazel Health that's available. Yeah. So just maybe with whatever communication you're sending out, that if the students need to talk to someone, I know a trustee from another district, she's trying to do some healing circles where they could do art, express how they're feeling, just something in a process and not just hold everything in. And then the last thing I just want to share is that SB 48, Lena Gonzalez is set for hearing on July 2nd, and that's the one that's going to do like a mile radius. Just want to thank the board again for passing that, letter of support, because that's what we need. You feel helpless, but it's things like that we can take action on. And also, Assemblymember Calderon will be hosting a webinar tomorrow, and I'm hoping you could send some information regarding that as well about knowing your rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee LaFarga?
Yes, thank you for the quick response this morning. It was our turn today, and it was a very sad day to just see how this unfolded so quickly and rapidly. This is more of a rhetorical question: why did they think it was right to come into our school parking lot and park in the back and hide? I mean, that just doesn't resonate well with me, but I think it begs the question of tighter coordination with our sheriff's department and our city, if they get a heads up, because I know they're supposed to protect, they're being asked, police force is being asked to protect the federal agents from violence, right? And they're going to do that. So if they know they're coming, there has to be a tighter communication and a heads up to us as well in terms of the presence that's going to be here. Does the communication also go out in Spanish, or did it go out in Spanish?
It did
as
go out
well?
in Spanish.
So we only receive it in English if we.
Yes, so we go, and the parent score sends it in the preferred language.
Okay.
So we send it in English, and then if you take communication in Spanish, then it will come out in Spanish. For the post, there was a separate post that was in Spanish.
And on social medias as well? Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Just wanted to make sure, because I didn't see it. I think we also need to communicate with our students if they choose to protest, the safeties, how to do it right without getting into the violence part of it, and destruction of property.
I know we did that when they were doing the walkouts, but I think just constant reminders, if students do choose to do any sort of protests as well and participate, or if they have participated, just as a reminder. I don't know if this is appropriate, but if there's legal resources we can share with families, just for broader information. Yeah, and does that come out in different ways? 'Cause I'm just talking about the information I receive, right, as a parent.
Right, so notification went out to the community, and hopefully you all received it. We did attach some legal resources that we vetted, that through the Los Angeles County Office of Education, and whatever, we had from either legal counsel or other, partners that we have. But there are some links on there that parents can access, as well as the information for mental health is all on there as well.
Okay.
We are going to absolutely send out that information again as a reminder through social media, so that parents are aware of it. I know you get lost in the moment, but as you mentioned, fear, anxiety, a lot of emotions going on. You know, this is traumatizing for our community, so. Yeah. just send it
Yeah,
out.
I would encourage us to do this on a weekly basis, as this still is playing out, and they said they're gonna be here for the whole month of June, who knows how long. But the more we over communicate during a time like this, as those resources are more readily available, right? Kind of like bringing it to the top of their inbox or in social media, whatever, just so they know we're still on top of it. And this week is not gonna go by unnoticed. We're gonna continue to put out our resources. I think that's important because this is not gonna end, so from what I know, in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. And also just to add on, we always go with our go-to saying in our motto, right? Once a Don, always a Don, and we say we're going to always take care of each other. It's important that we do offer out those resources, to the people that get involved. Should one of our students get picked up, one of our local ex-alumni or something like that, just reach out. If we can reach out to them, like Trustee Mejia says, this is a very trying times. They're very emotional. The families get traumatized. So just to be able to, a phone call, if anything, just say, hey, we understand what you've been through. These are the resources available that, you can use. That may be very, very, very helpful to our students and the families that live here in Pico. I know that with summer school, our principals aren't always going to be available. So I'd like to see if we can have either a folder, a protocol folder made available for a just in case, and there's somebody at the door that hasn't been told what the protocols are, but can get that folder or get that protocols and know who to call should someone come knocking on the door and they're not made aware of what our protocols are. And then also, a lot of the information today was shared with our city. So I'd like to see more cooperation with our city because, as was stated, as parents who have children here in the district, we do get those updates. But there's residents and there's also ex-alumni. There's parents that may not be receiving those, that go onto social media and look at the information that the city puts out. So we can continue that communication. And I like the idea by Trustee Lafarga. We can do this on a weekly basis, just to keep on updating our parents and what we do, what information is out there, and how we can help. Whether it be just to give numbers, whether it be just to give locations of where they can go to, if there's free legal services that are available. I'd like to make sure not only our students but our graduates, should they get in trouble, they know that they could come back to us and at the very least, find a number or know someone who knows somebody that can get that information for them. So thank you very much for that information. I appreciate it.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Sorry, I know Hector asked the rhetorical question of why they thought they were a park, but legally, is there anything we can do or like a statement to the governor or something that they know that this happened? Because I don't know if they know that this happened and that this is wrong. So I'm not sure. And then, you can come back, but I'm curious to see, like, is there any legal or a public statement that we can do to make, the higher ups aware of what we heard? Because I know the Walmart incident is getting a lot of news, which as it should, but I also feel like not that it needs to get on the news, but we need to bring attention to the fact that they parked vehicles on our property. So I'm just curious if, not now, but if there is any legal or what we can do.
That's a really good point. I did receive a call from Senator Bob Archuleta today, and I did not broach that question, but I think he might be able to help me, guide me as to who we might be able to talk to with that. I did talk to the city. I did talk to the captain about that. We did have a visit from Univision, and they were at Salazar, but they just took pictures. I did speak with them on the phone, and so they are aware of the situation, and so and some local press as well that's been in contact. So those are some of the ways, but I think it was also, Dora, you had mentioned to me that I should contact someone because there were some issues when they were there, and we wanted to make sure to report that.
Ms.
Yeah.
Ms. Copado, did you have some?
Yes. And one of the things, if the board has consensus on the matter, one of the things that we can do is, with your direction, issue a letter to Department of Homeland Security to say, just to document it. This is what happened. There was no consent. There was no permission. We can say, yes, they complied with so-and-so. There's other information that I want to speak to Ms. Soto Delgado that we are aware of. And so if it's appropriate, we should include that information as well in terms of their conduct. So that would be something that if you wanted to make it known and documented, that's also an option.
Is that something the board wants to move forward with?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Was there anything you wanted to add, Ms. Soto Delgado?
No, I do want to say though, that as a district, superintendent told me not to get emotional. We stand with our community. We're here to support our families, our students, and our staff. And we'll do everything within our power to make sure that we keep them safe. So we ask for your trust. We thank you for trusting us. And, our community, please reach out to us if you need us.
Thank you. Thank you for those words. Trustee Mejia?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, so with the direction that we gave, if we could also copy, say Superintendent, Tony Thurman, our located, legislators, governor as well. Yes. Thank you.
Any more discussion? Okay, none being heard. I'm going to go ahead and move on to item 14, public hearing. My stopwatch here. Item A, public hearing on the local control and accountability plan, LCAP, for the 25-26 school year required by the Board of Education, section code 52062. Public hearing opened at 9 p.m. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'm gonna go ahead and close the public hearing at 9 p.m. Moving on to item B, public hearing to approve the 2023-2024 annual developer fee report. Go ahead, public hearing is open at 9:01. Discussions or comments?
I have one.
Yes, Trustee Mejia?
Gio, Ms. Padilla, I just want to say thank you again for bringing this forward, and we're in compliance now. We get to see it all the time, and I'm looking forward to a discussion of how we will use these funds for our facilities, if that's how we'll use them. Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, I'm gonna go ahead and close the hearing at 9:01 p.m. Moving on to item C, public hearing regarding the El Rancho Unified School District proposed 2025-2026 budget. Go Go ahead and open up the public hearing at 9:01 PM. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing at 9:02 PM. Okay, moving forward, comments. Item number 15, comments and reports by the superintendent and cabinet.
Thank you so much. And I do have a statement that I want to share, based on what we just talked about in a few minutes. But I'm just changing the tenor of it a little bit. It's been a very exciting month. A lot of great things happening in our school district, despite the difficulties. And, just this last week, we had a parent recognition, a wonderful event where, some of the most involved parents in our community and got recognized for their efforts and their participation and the results that they've been part of by making sure our students, are enriched and by challenging us sometimes and making sure that we are pushing ourselves to do what's best for our students. Also wanted to share, summer school started and numbers are great. We have almost 200 kids at two of the middle schools, over 250 at one of the others. All the other schools have 70, 80, and 90 students, and the high school has over 1,000 students coming to summer school. So our students are continuing to grow and grow this summer. So we're really excited about that. Again, the graduation that we had, that was outstanding, and it was many graduations or many promotions and graduations, but we had two here in our field. They were just beautiful events, and it really just demonstrated the heart and passion that our students have. We got to not only see it here in our new facilities, but really recognizing those students and seeing that they're going to be part of the future. They've done so well, and so we're really excited for that. But I did just want to read this statement that much of this has been said, but I want to make sure to just share this with our community and the entire cabinet. And this morning, Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE vehicles were observed parked at Salazar campus. District staff immediately followed established safety protocols. Our team made direct contact with the individuals in the vehicles, informed them that they are not permitted on school grounds, and directed them to leave the property. The individuals complied, and the vehicles departed the area. Following the incident, we met with site principals to review and reinforce our safety protocols. I want to emphasize that our procedures are in place and working as intended to ensure the safety of our students and staff. We want to reassure our students, families, and staff that our schools remain safe, secure, and welcoming learning environments. Summer school will continue as scheduled, and we will remain focused on providing valuable learning opportunities that benefit our students. Our schools are places of learning, belonging, and protection. Every student has the right to feel safe and supported in their school environment. We will continue to uphold that right and remain fully committed to maintaining safe and supportive environments across our district. We understand that these are unsettling times. We want to express our heartfelt concern to the families in our community who may be feeling vulnerable. Please know that we are here for you and we support you during these challenging moments. Thank you for your continued trust, support, and partnership. That's all for today.
Thank you so much for those words. It really means a lot. Our community really does need to know that, we continue to support them throughout summer school and going into our new school year as well. This is something, as Trustee LaFarga stated, it's not going away anytime soon. So we really need to be ready. We need to be vigilant, and we need to really get the communication. I think communication is key in this, and letting our students and our parents and our community members know, once we do see see something, say something, right? So thank you very much for that information. Moving on to Board of Education announcements and acknowledgements. I'm going to start off with Trustee Perez.
Good evening. Today was a heavy day. And I'm like, keep it together. And you already cried today and the pregnancy hormones. And Ms. Soto, I was already ready to cry with you. But before I talk about today, we have to exemplify and share the great moments we had this last month. So May 28th, I again want to thank the LA Galaxy. They took the soccer teams to a game. So if you can, I know I talked to Dr. Goinaga, if he can share the picture, share that with the galaxy. It was a great night, and I heard it was a big celebration. The graduation, I know Dr. Vegas, is just kudos to Ms. Liel, Mr. Goinaga. It was so emotional seeing the drone show, seeing the dawn, seeing the messaging. It was just a beautiful, beautiful graduation, so well organized. And I will hopefully in the future bring to see if we can bring more drones or a course or an after school program, because fireworks, you know, I love fireworks, but they're not very environmentally friendly. And so drones are another option that our kids can start looking into. How do they start learning that? I also want to thank Mr. Sermeno and his team, the Salazar graduation, the speeches by the students, by the alum. They were just so beautiful. And congrats to all those that graduated, the 5th grade, the 8th grade, and the seniors. I hope you enjoy your summers. Last Monday, Dr. Vegas and I presented a certificate of appreciation to a 6th grade student named Vivas. This has been long waiting. The beautification day at STEAM, he was one of the first students there, and he was one of the last. And he was just working so hard. And so we just wanted to thank him for his work. And he was just so polite and just such a great moment. I want to thank, I believe it was the Ed Services that through the parent recognition dinner, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was just a beautiful, thank you for spreading us out like the board, because sometimes we only stick to each other. And you got to sit next to parents and community members, and you got to hear their story. And for me, it was just a beautiful moment. So thank you for that invite. And then, you know, as a board, we get elected not just to sit here and approve. We get elected to bring resources and bring opportunities, bring ideas, and then cabinet and Dr. Vegas makes it happen. And one of the biggest things that we went on, I believe it was May 27th, the Mommy and Me graduation, and they recognized both the parent and the kid. And it was just so great to see how much these students have learned in such a little bit amount of time. And so thank you, Gio. Thank you, Ms. Natalia. Thank you, Ms. Blanca, for making this program happen. I want to say most, if not all of the students will be going to our schools next year. So if we're worried about student enrollment, that's a great program that we want to continue. And so I just want to thank everybody for making that happen. And then the other thing, I believe it was May 23rd, Mr. Shapino and Mr. Semeno, I wanted to see the esports, the setup. I just wanted to see how are we doing with the computers. And it was the first esports, I guess, test game. And it was 4 students. I think it was a little bit more, maybe like 5 or 7 students that stayed till their last period, and they were just playing, right? And some people think, well, esports is just video games. Soccer is more than just kicking a ball. Baseball is more hitting a ball with a bat. It's the teamwork. They were working together. They were skilled. They were so engaged, and they just kept asking, when is this going to start? When is this going to start? So I'm excited that we finally kicked it off at Salazar. I'm excited to see what CTE pathway the students can get credit for, because there's the coding, there's the business, there's so many pieces that can go into it. Just thank you again to the entire team. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Ms. Garrett, for setting it up. And then it was his day off, and he still showed up to make it happen. So thank you for that. And then again, on a final note, just echoing all the sentiments, I want to send my to all those who feel scared, including family and friends who did not leave their house today because of everything they saw on the news, everything that was shared on social media. Right now, I wish I was at City Hall protesting and being with my community, but know that that you are not alone, that we're here for you, that we're trying to support as much as we can. It's just so inhumane what occurred today in our backyard with our neighbors. And I'm like, don't cry. Because it's just such a disgrace. So I am glad that we will be putting a statement out to show that unity, to show that they are not welcomed in our schools. They are not welcomed in our communities. And for us just to stick together. So again, have a great, enjoy your summer as much as you can, and have a great night. Thank you.
Trustee Mejia?
Thank you. So I just wanted to report out on some of the events, wonderful events, highlight those events, because we can't let them take our joy away. We really can't. So I just want to give kudos to Ms. Chavez Diaz and her staff for the wonderful early college dinner that she had for the parents and students. It was awesome to see so many middle schoolers receive college credit. Again, the staff did a wonderful job honoring all the students' accomplishments. Just wanted to share that was able to attend the Bernie Tech California Distinguished School celebration. I was late, but I still managed to see some part of it. And I just love the support and partnership that they have with STEAM Academy. They celebrate them, and it's just wonderful. So I know that we're going to be honoring them at a future board meeting, but next week. Okay, coming soon. But yeah, just an amazing community. The kids were so excited. They're just having a lot of fun and enjoying the moment. I was also right after that, I was able to attend the Ethnic Studies Showcase. Just want to thank Ms. Mata for the invitation. Again, it's wonderful to see the students' work, the artwork that they had, the statistics, the presentations. They were very articulate, and they had some, solutions to some problems. And I encourage the students to submit those solutions to the board, to city council, just to be civically engaged, make a difference, be the change, right? Be the change you want to see. So I was really happy with just how we have such a strong ethnic studies program. Thanks to Ms. Avedra, I was able to attend the band color guard celebration for a bit, and just, we talk about parent power. That group is amazing. They have a very strong parent base, and it was really nice to see the students, Hello? Oh, okay. Just to see all the awards that they were going to receive. I wasn't able to stay for all of it, but Mr. Rush has done an amazing job with the band and color guard. And again, with that parent support. That's why they're so successful. It's that partnership. I just want to also share that at Tri-Cities ROP, we acknowledged, honored our HOSA students that are going to an international competition in Tennessee. And let me tell you, they made us so proud because they all shared where they were going, their goals, and they were so articulate and just, made us very proud. Just want to also encourage our students to join the LA County Library Summer Discovery Program. It's reading and exploration. It started on June 2nd, and it goes all the way through August 2nd. The students can log books to complete. You have to hold it. That's okay. I'll hold. No, it died again. Yeah. They're able to win prizes, and it's not only limited to our students, it's also for families. And again, if we model it, the students will see it, and we'll prevent that summer slide. Lastly, again, I just want to promote ASM Calderon's webinar for tomorrow, Know Your Rights and Protect Your Community, 4:30 to 5:30. It will be, the information will be anonymous. You do need a link to join the webinar, but it is, the more you know, the better you're able to help your neighbors. Again, today was heartbreaking to see, supermarkets, shopping centers. It was really hard to see. Really, really hard to see. So the more you might think you know a lot, but you'll learn something, and you might be able to help someone else. With that, I just want to wish our teachers a very happy summer, for them to rest, and for the ones that are coming to do summer school. Thank you for that, and administrators as well. That concludes my report.
Ms. Mejia, if I
Thank
could
you,
just
Trustee
say.
Mejia.
Wait.
Trustee LaFarga?
If I can add something.
Thank you. Starting with the celebrations last week, the graduations and the promotions, it was just great to celebrate students' academic accomplishments. There's so much positivity going on in the school sites that I was able to attend. And more importantly, it was fun to see their school communities, how they approach promotions. It's very different in a lot of ways. I heard there's competitions in how fast they can finish sometimes amongst the middle schools. But it was just really nice celebrations. I got a chance to go to Rivera Middle, STEAM, and North Park promotions, and take pictures with their valedictorians that we're going to keep in the district, right, Dr. Vegas? And it was just a really, really nice time. the El Rancho graduation was beautiful in the new stadium. It was inspiring, motivating. And I echoing the comments about the speeches at the Salazar graduation. That's a real two words that I think just I walked away with is community and love in that school and nurturing the students for a brighter future. So I just want to wish our grads from high school the best in their uh, journey as they move on to bigger and better things. And then for those that are promoting into high school, the ninth graders, like my daughter Alina, wishing them the best in that transition and much success. I also got an opportunity to attend the parent recognition event a little late, but nonetheless, I got there when the program actually started. So it was just nice to be able to continue to recognize the parents that are making a positive impact and in collaboration with us as a district and supporting not just their children, but all our children at the various school sites. And it was just great to be a part of that. Senior night, the scholarship night was a lot of fun. I heard $500,000 in scholarships were awarded, and a lot of success, academic success that our students are having. Really a special thanks to the community organizations, the businesses, the alumni, board members who contribute scholarships to our students. It's really impactful. Whatever the amount, it goes a long way to support their educational endeavors. So it was really excited to be a part of that. This week, I think tryouts have started already. So I'm dropping off my kids at 5:30 in the morning for soccer, for flag football, and I see cross country already on there, and they're all out on the fields now. I mean, it's just a beautiful sight to see. It's a complex that's accommodating all of them, and they have a place to go even if it's too tight. So it's just really wonderful to see that, and I wish everyone trying out and competing for a spot on a team the best of luck. Want to wish a happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers in the room. I hope you had a wonderful Sunday with your family. And just wishing everybody, I know the work continues, but just hopefully in between the work, you find some time to decompress and relax and enjoy throughout the summer. So really appreciate everybody's heavy lifting throughout the school year. And I just want to thank you, Dora, for those words that you shared. I think we all stand behind those words as parents, as board members, and as a district and as a community. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. There we go. All right. So I'm going to come back over here to Trustee Saavedra.
So like everybody else, I went to a ton of the both graduations. I went to the graduation at the adult school, which was so empowering and so amazing. If you haven't been out to the adult school, definitely check it out. They had an adult school night also, and various programs that they have going on out there. I was able to visit with Senior Sunset and seeing all those seniors on the lawn playing games. It was just a really nice and safe space for them to be in. They looked like they were all having a great time. So I want to really thank Ms. Leal, Mr. M, and everybody that put that together, and ASB, and all you ASBers that graduated already. Thank you. We appreciate you as parents for putting on those great events. To the parents that form part of the school site council and the DAC, and we're recognized. Keep doing what you do. Keep coming back. We need you. We need to hear your voice. And you're so appreciated. The senior awards night was amazing. Thank you for the scholarships that were given to the students. Man, $500,000, you're seeing where these kids are going to great places. Know that you can always come back to El Rancho. Know that you can knock on the school district door and somebody we'll be there to help you or guide you should you need that extra little push. To all the students that promoted, know that there's a home for you, whether it be at El Rancho, Salazar, or one of the middle schools, there's a place for you here. So we welcome you, and wherever you're going next, congratulations on your promotion. Um, and people ask me why I take this so personal. It's because it's deeply personal. And I want to let the community know that we do stand with you. We love you. We appreciate you. There are resources out there. Please go online to the district, go online to the county pages, and hopefully we keep up all the social media posts so that people can know where to go and what to do if they need help or they find themselves in difficult situations, because we are in difficult times. So from me to you, I just give you a big hug for whoever needs it. Yeah, that's about it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Saavedra. I appreciate it. Appreciate those words. I know a lot of these are repetitious, but I do have to say some of them. The Early College Academy and the increase in the number of students that were represented, I was so impressed. It was a great night, and a lot of our students were recognized for doing what they're doing, and kudos to them, putting in the extra work. The Senior Awards Night scholarships, as was stated, record number of scholarships that were given out. Special shout out to the Wesley Cruz Foundation, to the class of 91, and to the Ray Chavez Scholarship Award. They all have special meaning to me, and I really looking forward to next year for the awards to give out even more. We give out 500,000 or close to 500,000. Let's raise that, that bar, and keep on giving, because these students that are going on to brighter, bigger things end up coming back for, to give back to the community. Yours truly being one of them as well. The DAC and DLAC parent recognition dinner was amazing. So I want to say thank you to all the staff and everyone that helped to put that together. We had a great time, and parents is where it's at. We talk about where we can improve parent participation at whatever level, whether it be from the TK all the way up to high school level and beyond. Parent participation really helps. It really brings recognition, and it brings a lot to our district, our community, where we find that our funds are lacking all the time. Every year we get less and less in funding, and our parents, I don't know how they do it. They always find ways to find the extra funds to go out and do the extra, go above and beyond for our students to get that funding for them. So thank you to all the parents that were recognized. I look forward to going again next year and recognizing even more parents. And then last but not least, the Dons of Distinction band fundraiser. Thank you to everybody who helped put that together. Mr. Rush, obviously. The band members, they are all El Rancho Don, I don't want to say all, most of them are El Rancho Don graduates from the 60s, from the 70s. And I mean, I don't know if you guys haven't heard this band, but they get down. They give a show. The dance floor is filled from start to finish. And it's truly amazing. And to know that you're there for a great cause. Our band, and I say it all the time, I was never a band member. But I'm glad that Mr. Rush is here with us. I'm glad for the work that he's doing, and that also goes for the bands in our middle schools. They're doing great things, and bands they go out. They go out and they compete. They go out in these big vans that have our Rancho logos, our Rancho rap. It's recognition, it's branding, and it's pride. It puts pride in these students. So I'm kudos to the El Rancho Band, and kudos to the Dons of Distinction for what they're doing, Mr. Francano, and his band. That's all I have, so, I guess we can move on. Consent agenda. Do we have, before I ask for a motion, do we have any changes to the agenda? Oh, I'm sorry, before we move forward.
Oh, no, to pull.
Oh, yes, okay, so there are items to pull, yes. Trustee Perez,
17 D as in dog, number 8.
17 D as in dog, number 8,
And then 17E1.
and 17E1.
Thank you.
Any others? Trustee Mejia?
17A is an apple 3.
I'm sorry, 17A is an apple?
3.
3. Thank you. Dr. Villegas, we have any items? Okay, with that being said, I need a motion to, for the consent agenda with the changes made.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee LaFarga, second by Trustee Mejia. Take it to a vote. Trustee Perez?
Yes.
Trustee Saavedra? Trustee Mejia?
Yes.
Trustee LaFarga?
Yes.
Myself, yes. We'll go to item 17A3. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mejia, second by Trustee LaFarga. Take it to a vote.
Discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Discussion, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So this is the, to ratify an agreement with Open Sky Productions. And I just pulled it because, I think it was a great drone show. But at the same time, if we reflect, we need to do something for Salazar as well. Both graduations were amazing, but, Salazar needs a little love. I think that the funding source, am I correct when, is this general fund? Because I didn't see it on the detail.
In this case, it was going to be, yes, the general fund was going to be used for this.
So thank you for that. So with that, I would love to get consensus from the rest of the board for us to, in the future, there should be some equity with the Salazar graduation and provide some support as well for their graduation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd also like to see that maybe with the drone show, we can do something, our students doing the actual drone show, and I think that would be awesome, as our students get more involved. I think that would be an awesome accomplishment, and whether it be a class gift or the underclassmen doing a drone show for the graduating one. So just throwing out an idea out there. Trustee LaFarga?
Since we're thinking a little bit out of the box, it'd be nice also to maybe get some of the band to play for them, the El Rancho Band.
Is it background music?
Yeah, it's like the marching music and, the national anthem. I think that creates
That's a great idea.
a sense of ambiance for them as well, that we're connected, right? It's
For Salazar.
for Salazar, yeah.
Got it.
Maybe we can talk to Mr. Rush if he'd support something like that.
Absolutely. Okay, any more discussion? Okay, with that being said, go ahead and take it to a vote. Do I need to take a individual consensus? We're good? A vote, okay. Oh, okay, so we're gonna vote on the item, which is A3.
Yes.
So I'll start over here with Trustee Perez,
Yes.
Trustee Saavedra, myself, yes, Trustee LaFarga,
Yes.
and Trustee Mejia.
Yes.
Thank you. Item passes. And I'm sorry, we're going on to item 17D8, D as in dog 8. Can I get a motion?
So move.
Second.
Moved by LaFarga, second by Mejia. And open for discussion. Trustee, Perez?
So I have a question because I want to say I read it, but I just want to confirm. Will this replace the interim assessments? Yeah.
That's what we're looking at, and we're going to be meeting to replace them for the elementary and middle school, the high school. The second, we'll still have interim assessments because I-ready does not go up to the high school.
So, sorry, does this contract include that we're replacing the interim or is this
No,
the
that's a
diagnostic?
local decision, so we
Oh,
could, if we wanted to, hypothetically, I'm not well, I shouldn't say it. We can have both. And if you
Okay.
didn't think, oh no, read between the lines, but I'm just giving you an example that we would be able to have both the interim assessment and iReady.
So this has the capability, this particular contract has the capacity to, if we wanted to use it as an interim
But
assessment.
that's our
That would be all car.
The
But it,
contract is how we,
yeah. But
The
it-
contract is what?
Yes.
Are they? So,
but
the-
we made the decision to do that. So the interim assessment, we could say, then we can use iReady. So yes, the contract can be used in that capacity.
okay. So the reason I'm asking is because I used iReady back in 2011.
Mhm.
DC was one of the first that started working with iReady. And they are great. And then I've told you this, Dr. Vegas, they are very good at diagnostics.
Mhm.
They, especially for the teacher who, a student is in second grade math, but they are at a preschool or so forth. They're very good at that. But from what I've heard, and even recently talking to superintendents at the CSBA conference and talking to my colleagues who still are in DCPS, they're not the best at interim assessments. And so that's where I wanted to make sure that, before we completely, not eliminate, but if we do intend to replace, especially at the middle school level, iReady for the interim assessments, I want to make sure that we do our research, that I told Dr. Vegas, contact your superintendents, because I know several districts have used iReady and they weren't a big fan of that part. So I just wanted to
So
make
we
sure.
will work with professional development to support our teachers and even ourselves on how we use the program to support the data that we receive as interim assessment to support our student achievement and for teachers to guide their instruction. And I wish I could say everything will be perfect. There'll probably be some bumps along the road, but we will work with our partners in other districts, with iReady, with our teachers and get their feedback, what worked, what didn't, what they liked, what they didn't. Even our own interim assessments have evolved from when we first started using them
Yeah.
to where they're at now. And unfortunately, you've heard some pros and cons about how teachers feel about the interim assessments. I'm sure, unfortunately, you'll hear the same about iReady, but our goal is to work together with the teachers and principals and each other to make sure that we get the best picture of where our kids are so that we could support them.
So I'm more concerned about making sure that districts that have already, like DCPS, this was 2011, that was 14 years ago. They've
Mhm.
been working, I believe I don't know what contract they have. I know we're going to do great with working with it currently, but I'm curious to see if we can contact other districts that have had longer contracts with iReady. What has been their experience with the interim assessment specifically? They're great at diagnostics.
And
I
maybe
told
some
them.
districts don't use the districts, and I'm not saying they may not use them particularly for interim assessments. They may
Yeah.
use them in the classroom. And then again, making sure that we use the program efficiently and correctly, that it's
Yeah.
not overused, that we're not letting the kids use it for an endless amount of time to guide
Yeah.
to do that. So that responsibility will be all of us as educators to make sure we're doing that correctly, but most definitely we'll reach out to other districts, superintendents, administrators, or even our colleagues at our level to see what worked for them and what didn't, so that we can see if it works for us. And needless to say, this is, I believe, a 2-year contract that we're moving
Yeah.
forward with. And if it's not something that meets our needs, we'll have to see what other options we do have at that time.
Can I request and with approval from the board to get a follow-up maybe in a couple months when you've done your research with other districts to see what worked with, because there are just, so for example, DCPS did not move forward for interim assessments. I don't know why, but they didn't like specific pieces of it. And so instead of us recreating the wheel, I want to make sure that we get ahead of the, what are the things that they didn't like? And so if we can get if I have consensus from the board, just to follow up on information in a couple months, from the districts that we spoke to, what did they like about the interim assessments? What did they not like? How do they use it? Because I just want to make sure that we don't focus on just what our Rancho does, but what other districts statewide and nationwide that have used this product, what they saw and how we can, maybe learn from them if I can. Does that make sense?
Definitely, but would you be able to get that data maybe from the source?
But I have a feeling if I say I would ask iReady, Ms. Press is going to tell me that's biased data.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna say, they're
so
gonna
I will
look at
do
their
my
products.
best to work with Dr. Villegas to see if we could talk to colleagues to see who uses it and get their information.
Absolutely.
Maybe
We
could
started that
create
process.
questions.
Ms. Pettis had mentioned that, so we have started making contact with them, and you're right, not all of them are using them as interims, but there's a new standards-based product that they're shared with our team that gives us the idea that these assessments are a little bit different than what they've had in the past. But we will absolutely reach out to the neighboring districts. And if you have any districts that you think we should contact specifically, let us know and we'll do that as well.
I can't get contacts at DCPS because they've worked with them for almost 15 years now. And it's also good for us to learn about what worked for them and what didn't work, right? Because I do think that, again, I do think it's a great product for in-house, like every day. But I think there needs to be improvements with the interim assessments. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Yes,
Trustee
President.
Mejia?
Yes, so I'm a little bit concerned because these type of discussions, in my opinion, should have been done at the piloting. There's a lot of questions that you brought up. And also we have TOSAs, right, that are experts.
Yes.
So I don't know, if it just feels like it feels like if it's maybe needed more vetting and or guidelines as well for teachers, because it's being rolled out now, right?
We did also have a survey with our teachers to get feedback from them, from our principals as well, to see what would work and what not. We met most recently with them, I'm gonna say June 5th, to see where we can move. And although some sites decided because of the time of year that it would only some people would come, not all teachers were asked to participate. We do get their feedback and we will continue to ask questions and meet with them to get that information. But these conversations that happen, and I understand they're being asked of us now, and we will try to get that information for us.
And I do agree that, yes, you should learn from other districts. The resource time, right? It's gonna take time for you to research and or contact other districts. That's my concern. The time of staff to look into and do all these other things.
Can I answer?
Can I? Oh, sorry.
I do have a question. Is there a timeline? Is there a time frame that you need to get this done by, or by, is the next board meeting suffice?
The next board meeting is next Tuesday, so I would ask if I can have probably till July. The only issue that I have with that, and I'm so sorry, if I can have clarification, I will work with Dr. Villegas to communicate with other districts to get the information that is being requested. However, we've already communicated with teachers and site administrators that we're moving forward with iReady and that we will be using it as our interim. We do have scheduled meetings on the 23rd and the 24th with our administrators so that we can plan early for next year. So I just need guidance in what direction you would like me to move forward.
Well, and in part that, just to share, that decision wasn't done in a vacuum. It was done, through the pilot, through the, different teachers that were using the product and the feedback that Ed Services received based on, the cumulative information that they have. One of the things that is really true is that we over-assess our students in many ways. We have so many assessments. So at the end of the day, we have to land on an assessment that teachers believe in and that they can use. And so though no assessment is perfect, the best assessment is an assessment that teachers have some kind of belief in. And what we know about iReady, at least for some degree, they're able to use that to adjust their instruction, which is ultimately what we want. And it may not be in always standards-based, but it's skill-based. So they'll be able to say, okay, the kids don't know this skill, which those skills land in some form or another in its standards. A lot of what we have seen, and we know this for sure, is that there are a lot of high productive districts that use iReady and as a platform that they use. They may not necessarily use it for interim, but they use it. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out how can we minimize the amount of assessments our students take, maximum the amount of teaching, and maximize the usage of these assessments. Because frankly, the interim assessments we have been using haven't been used in the way that we've needed them. So we've been given these, and we can be truthful on that the interim assessments, aren't always used the way that we intended.
Not, and neither are our screeners, neither are sometimes, unfortunately, teacher created assessments. And it's a conversation that we can have, and it's not that they're not used appropriately. We are trying to have consistency as a district to how the assessments are being used, how it's being communicated to how teachers are using the data from the assessments to guide their instruction, and how the results of the assessments are being communicated with parents. Because some assessments are meant to for the teacher to say, oh, I need to reteach this. And unfortunately, sometimes some educators say, oh, that means I need to reassess it again to show growth, and then we reassess to show growth. And there are a lot of assessments. Not only do we have our interim assessments and our screeners, we also have the ELD assessments that need to be given. We'll also be moving forward with the reading difficulty screener for our K2 teachers that we'll be asking of them. So there's different assessments that we'll be asking for them, and we need to make sure that we're using the information we receive appropriately for them, and that we hear the feedback from them. Some teachers may really like them, and some teachers may tell us, you know what, have you thought about this? And having those conversations, and again, and that those are that feedback that we receive from them so that we can move forward.
But having said that, we absolutely see the value in reaching out to other districts and other entities that have used this and to learn the best practices. How can we maximize what has worked or hasn't worked for them, so we don't have to relearn it from the very beginning?
Trustee Perez?
By July.
Sorry, so first off, this idea I already came back when Dr. Rivera was on the board. And ever since then, I've been this isn't the first time that I bring up my concern with iReady. That was back 2-3 years ago. And I've talked to Dr. Vegas, and every time I see iReady, that's the same. So this is not the first time I've brought this issue to hand. The other thing is that iReady has 2 products, or probably more, but they have the diagnostic, which is what you give a student at the beginning of the year to see where they are in their math or their English level. That tells you what activities they have to work on. They work on that independent. That's a whole nother product. Then there's the interim assessment. That's different. That's the one I'm concerned about. The diagnostic, which is what the pilot was about, and the teacher feedback, everyone was on par. I'm on par with that. From what I've seen in the pilot notes, I don't think that we did test the interim assessment piece. That's the one I'm saying that other districts, both statewide and nationally, have given feedback that they don't feel that it matches whatever I forget the name of the California state. Does that make sense?
Product has probably changed the product has changed to meet the needs of different districts, and I'm sure they've received feedback from school districts who have used them, and they're trying to improve that because it is a product they want to sell. So they hear the feedback. We did work with them in different capacities, and I apologize for not using the correct terminology for that. But when we did look at the component of using it as an interim assessment, it's something that we would be able to move forward with. But of course, we'll work. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We do want to hear honest feedback from other districts to see what they can do. And if that's what I'm being asked to do, we can do that. And I can do that not by next week, but by July. But again, it's summer break, and I don't know, Dr. Villegas, how we can contact others.
Again, I'm not pausing the process. I
You
think
just
this
want
contract,
information.
I want to make sure that we're aware that the interim assessments are, in this, if for this year, you decide, you know what, we're going to use this interim assessment. Let's see how it goes. I'm okay with that. I just want to make sure that we're mindful that we contact other districts, and that we look to see what didn't work for them, why did it not work for them? Because at the end of the day, iReady is going to market the product. They're going to tell you, we have X, Y, Z, we are great, we're the best. But other districts have used this product and they know firsthand. And so that's my piece.
Okay.
Again, I don't want to pause it. I'm going to approve, but I just want to make sure that we have that in the back of our mind, kind of thing.
Can we have that well, I guess Dr. Villegas and I will speak to see what we can do for July. If
Yeah,
not
we
August.
will be able to contact some of
Okay.
the people and
It's
get some
just-
answers to
Okay.
help us in the process. And I think that's a really good idea to access other districts that have done this, just to learn from them best practices and what can be better.
Thank you. Trustee Saavedra?
Sorry. I just find it disappointing that you've been bringing this up and nobody has addressed it before. So, I also agree that whatever you have in place, you guys have a lot of assessments going on. You guys got a lot of things going on in categorical that if this was already vetted and everybody already agreed on it, we have 2 years. So, maybe at the end of this, take another, really good look at it with the teachers and everybody that goes through this and make sure we're all on the same page as to where we're going. But again, not stop what we're doing because we're already there. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, with that being said, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Trustee Perez?
Yes.
Trustee Saavedra? Myself, yes. Trustee Lafarga?
Yes.
And Trustee Mejia? Thank you. Before we do move on, I'm gonna go ahead and take a vote to extend the meeting. It's 9:46. We're gonna extend it for another hour because we still have closed session to go over with and to finish off the remaining items. So that being said, may I get a motion? Motion by
Second.
Saavedra and Saavedra by second by Lafarga. Trustee Perez? Trustee Saavedra? Myself, yes. Trustee Lafarga?
Yes.
Trustee Mejia?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Moving on to item E1, I believe was the last one. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Open for discussion?
I had a question. Is that, Gio, and I know I've asked you this. So there are some school districts that they charge developer fees for any building, even if it's an ADU under 500 square feet. Do we? And I know I've asked you and I don't really know.
Yes, and since we had that conversation, I did ask our fiscal department to update our website to make sure that all of our fees was clearly delineated. We do not have at this time the ability to increase to get more developer fees, but we are, you know, I'm following SAB, the State Allocation Board, who provides the increases every 2 years. So we have the most up-to-date developer fee that is allowed. So
So-
I hope that answers your question.
Sorry, so if I am developing an ADU for 300 square feet at my house, will I have to pay a developer fee for our rancho?
So anyone who, so here's the confusion. We need to ensure that with the city, they have the most recent information.
Yeah.
Because there was a disconnection. And with your very important question, we worked in that direction to make sure that not only do we have the most recent, so yes, to answer your question, we would charge developer fees on any residential improvement. And that to make sure that the city of Pico Rivera also has the most recent information. So that,
Okay.
because we were getting applications that were old because the process hadn't taken place. When we made the switch last year of April, I think it was effective April of 2024. We were still honoring old applications up to the end of our fiscal year, June 30th, 2024. But apparently there's information that hasn't been updated at the city, which was a lack of communication on our part. So we're tying those pieces so that it's very clear. And I would also like to provide different scenarios like you're asking right now. And like maybe an approximate calculation based on a certain scenario so that it's clearer for our community.
And is that on our website? Like, will it say on our website, like any ADU units, regardless of size, will be, you know?
It's very dry and accounting focus.
Okay.
We need to improve and make it more community friendly.
Okay, yeah, that would be if it's okay with the
Mhm.
board, just so that, because that's money that a lot of people are building ADUs and they think that if it's under 500 square feet, they don't have to pay the school district. And I've learned that some school districts are requiring that, so I just wanted to make
Yes.
sure that okay,
Yes,
okay, that's all, thank you.
thank you.
Trustee Saavedra?
Wanted to point out that how happy I am when I see the word piggyback in this document, because it means that the school district is leveraging other contracts to save us funds. So thank you very much for
You're
that.
very welcome. Thank you.
Any further discussion? No being heard. I'm going to take it to the vote. Trustee Perez?
Yes.
Trustee Saavedra? Myself, yes. Trustee Lafarga?
Yes.
And Trustee Mejia? Thank you. Moving on to item 18, new business action items. Superintendent's Office received for second reading and adopt revised board policy 1312.3, uniform complaint procedures. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Lafarga and Mejia. Discussion?
So this is the second reading. So we've already had the first reading. So I think any concerns of this would have already been addressed, so I'm hoping that we can go ahead and update this policy.
Any questions or discussion from, nope, none being heard. Go ahead, take it to the vote. Trustee Perez?
Yes.
Trustee Saavedra? Myself, yes. Trustee LaFarga?
Yes.
And Trustee Mejia? Thank you. Item passes 5-0. Item 19, recommendations for future board agendas. I'll go ahead and put it over here on this side. Trustee Perez?
Just to formalize it, if we can get information on what the school district is currently doing, like any after-school programs or anything with the drones specifically. Just a board information item, if I can get a second.
Second?
Thank you.
Second.
Is that all, Trustee Perez? Yeah. Trustee Saavedra?
Do you want me to read that? Okay. So first thing, I want to take a good look at the ATP. I did talk to Dr. Villegas about it, and they have a great space over there at the adult school. Practically brand new school, so I don't know. So that's one. Two, I know we talked about the sensory room, so I'm gonna ask about that again. The libraries, again, to see if there's any funding that grants or anything out there that we could possibly use to have the libraries open over the summertime, maybe once a week, especially for the schools like North Ranchito and Durfee that are farther away from the libraries right here where kids can actually go and check out books and stuff like that.
So I'm sorry, before you move
Yeah.
forward, these are information items that you're asking about, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And do you want me to read the whole thing or? one
Yeah,
second?
yeah, we can, you're doing fine.
Okay.
Just whether you want it as an information item or
Yeah,
as
those
a
are all information
agenda item.
items.
Okay.
Parent comment, I would like to see if you guys could look at parent comment, possibly to the beginning of the school year, because the ending of the school year, there's a lot of missed opportunities with parents, and one of the big things, and one of the things we talk about, or at least I talk about to death, is vertical articulation. And Miss Jasmine Chavez Diaz isn't there anymore, but she would be so proud of us talking about it right now. So just to get parents so that they know where their kids can go, starting from TK to beyond. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, move on over here. Anybody on this side have any requests?
I don't.
Yes.
Trustee Mejia?
So just to make it form, and I'll second, Mr. Vedra's, items.
Oh, yes, I was seconding. Oh, I was second thumbs up. Yes,
Mhm.
yes. So we have three of them. The adult school transition program, the sensory rooms, and the parent summit moving forward, getting an earlier start on the libraries. Thank you, sir.
So my item is to explore the CYBHI. LACO has a CYBHI capacity grant, so we could use this as a funding revenue stream. If I may, I have a second.
Second.
Thank you. And then the other one that I have is just information item. I know that it's been asked before about the band room. I know we're gonna have a meeting for facilities, but I did get a request from a parent asking sooner rather than later because they don't have an adequate place for them to practice. They stop their practices. So information item, if I think we can get information on next steps, solutions. Thank you.
Get clarification on that. If I can get just clarification. So what you heard from a parent is that because of the room being updated or?
The current room that they have right now, they have to stop practices because it reaches a certain decibel.
I
So
see.
it's not adequate for a band practice. And we don't want any of our students to get hurt.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
We're almost done.
Okay, Trustee LaFarga? Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't have anything either, but I do want to reiterate as far as the band room, I know it's gonna take a while, I believe August or October is what we're looking at now as far as a start date. October for a start date, correct? And then however much time it takes to get that. We do need to start looking at the possibilities of seeing if we can relocate or, you know, what we can do to get the band in a secure location. Obviously, we talk about safety and those decibel levels going through the roof, literally, right? So we can look into that as well, along with the request from Ms. Mejia.
And if I may clarify, today, unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend because we were dealing with the situation that we've talked about extensively. But my team met with the site administrators to look at all of these pieces and start problem solving. So tomorrow, first thing, I'll can reconnect with my team as well as with the site administrators to see what was discussed, and we'll provide a board update.
Question, does Rivera, North Park, or any of the other middle schools use the band rooms during the summertime? Would that be an option?
That's a good question. I'm sure that there's a capacity to use
North
it there.
Park? Do you know, Arlene? Does North Park use the band room in the summertime?
Yes.
What about Rivera Middle School? Well, not that they have a band, but they have a room. So that might be an option.
That's a good
That might
point.
be an option to look at,
Take a
you
look
know,
at
as a
that for sure.
possibility,
Yep.
just throwing it out there, you
Yep,
know,
that's
just
a
as an
good
idea
possibility.
we're talking about.
Even scheduling, even if they are using it, they may not need it at the same time. So
There you go.
yeah.
That might be a possibility, because now we're looking at safety issues involved, so. Great, thank you so much. So at this point, we're gonna go to closed session, back to closed session at 9:58.